Thanks for tuning in to Unbreakable with Chris Chamasiros. I talk about politics, sports, and entertainment to keep you well-rounded. What's going on around the world? If you don't like hearing the truth, definitely don't tune into this channel. So let's get started today. President Trump, I'll tell you. Did you ever think about this? Did you ever think about, like, stop and think about it? The people that we elect to run this country, regardless if they're Republicans or Democrats, they really hate us. They really despise us. I mean, there's no doubt about it. When you look at the decisions that these politicians are making, they don't have Americans' best interest at heart. They don't have America's best interest either. How does letting 55 million illegal people in your country, how does that benefit the country? How does that help the country? Half the people, the government doesn't even know who they are. We have known terrorists walking across the border. I mean, Joe Biden let 500,000 children disappear at the border only to be sex trafficked, and God only knows what happened to them. You think that helps America? You think that helps our country? You think Hussein Obama giving Iran $9 billion? I forget how much money he gave them. It was like in the billions of dollars. You think that helped America's safety? All we hear is that Iran is our worst nightmare, that they're a nuclear bomb waiting to drop on America, and they're 1 inch away from it. But yet Hussein Obama gave Iran billions of dollars in cash for some reason. And now you have Trump, who is telling America and American citizens, like, hey, listen, gas prices are worth being $5 a gallon as long as Iran doesn't get a nuclear weapon. So let's think about this logically. We have an open border under Joe Biden, completely open border where if you had a nuclear or whatever, you could just walk it across the border and do whatever you wanted to do. Because after all, Kamala Harris was the border czar. Then you had Hussein Obama give Iran billions upon billions of dollars in cash. And now Trump claims he's trying to keep us all safe from Iran. So between the border, between Hussein Obama giving Iran billions of dollars in aid, a so-called terrorist nation, and now Trump pretends like he's the one cleaning it all up. Trump's not cleaning up anything. Tulsi Gabbard already let the cat out of the bag. Marco Rubio let the cat out of the bag. Marco Rubio got on TV and said the only reason why we're attacking Iran is because Israel threatened us and told us if we didn't help, it would put our soldiers at risk. We're only doing this for Israel. And then Trump sits down with Sean Hannity and he tells him the same thing. Trump tells Sean Hannity, well, we're not really doing this for America. We're really not doing this for American citizens. We're doing this for Israel and China. I'm really trying not to get too animated today. What did we elect Trump to do? Did we elect Trump to do favors for Israel and do favors for China? No, we elected Trump to take care of America and Americans. And you heard the magic words right out of his mouth. He doesn't care 1 second. He doesn't care one bit that Americans are struggling right now and paying $5 a gallon of gasoline. He doesn't care. He's said it multiple times. He doesn't care. And even when friendly shows like Sean Hannity and who's this other clown, BAIER, BRET, another Fox News hack, another Fox News Israel firster, even when Trump sits down with them and they throw him a softball to maybe change his statement or reword it, no, he doubles down, Trump. He triples down and he says, nope, I don't care. Don't care about my voting base. Don't care about American citizens. Don't care that Americans are struggling. To say that I despise Trump is a complete understatement. It's just such I can't even put it in words how much I despise him right now. And in 2028, we need to, it's not going to be Republicans and Democrats. I don't want to hear that anymore. I just don't want to hear it. We need to elect a candidate that's going to take it all back. Take the government back, take the military back, take the CIA back, take the country back, take our institutions back. Somebody that has not afraid to put their life on their line for our countrymen. Because if we elect anybody else, if you elect J.D. Ozempic, if you elect Marco Rubio, if you elect Ron DeSantis, if you elect Gavin Newsom, if you elect AOC, guess what? Guess what? Israel has their bet hedged on both sides and they win, and it's just the same old garbage as usual. Listening to Trump, first of all, I noticed Trump, like he sounds like he's like suffocating when he's talking. Like he has this weird low pitched tone. Like I don't know what's going on with him health wise. I mean, he can't be healthy. How could you feed the machine McDonald's and think you're going to be healthy and have energy? Food is energy. And you have one of the most powerful men in the world, and he feeds his face with the worst possible food that you can eat. You don't think that affects him at 80 years old? Of course it does. Of course it does. Putting that garbage in his body every day. It's just like, can we elect a person in 2028 that can do some exercise, that can get on TV and do some push-ups for some kids and maybe inspire our youth? Like, hey, listen, you need to get to the gym. You need to be strong. You see those pictures in the 40s and 50s and 60s what the kids would do in the schoolyard. They look like a military course. They're climbing ropes. They're jumping over buildings. They're doing pull-ups. Like, we have progressed in every way for the worst. It's not getting better. And all I'll hear from you guys, all I'll hear is, oh, you're a black pillar. You're just being negative. I'm being negative? Is it negative? Is it negativity or is it the truth? Is it negativity or is it reality? You tell me what Trump has done to make our lives better as American citizens. Let me know. The food, he caved on the food. He's letting them spray chemicals on the food. Doesn't care. Gas is through the roof. Did he bring down? This was Trump's exact words. When I get elected, immediately gas prices will be under $2 a gallon. Everything is based off gas and energy, the entire country. And the higher that is, the higher everything else is. You don't have to be a genius to figure this out. And Trump has done nothing. He has done absolutely. Oh, he wants a pat on the back because he closed the border down. That's Trump's big claim to fame. Oh, I closed the border up. You don't get a pat on the back for having a border. We don't even have a border wall. You can't be a country without a border. I mean, you're not getting a pat on the back from me because you have a so-called border gone. Totally abandoned deportations because he didn't handle it right in the first place. Handled it like a total amateur hour. It's just total garbage all around the board. And Trump, he just doubles down and he triples down and he tells you point blank, I don't care. He's 80 years old. He's towards the end. He just doesn't care. You know what? I don't think Trump believes in God, honestly. I mean, I don't know what was going on there when he got sworn in and he didn't put his hand on the Bible. 20 years from now, are we going to find out that he's an atheist? Is he Jewish? Like, what are we going to find out 20 years from now about Trump? Because the way Trump is acting in this term of his, he despises the working man. He really does. To me, he just looks like the ultra-liberal Democrat that he's always truly been from New York. He's a New Yorker at heart. Ultra liberal, like an elitist liberal, not like not your father's Democratic Party from back in the day, blue collar, hard work. Nah, I don't mean like that. I don't mean it like that. I mean like an elitist liberal. The Epstein class type liberal, with the messy hair and the Harvard shirt on and thinks that anybody that works with their hands is complete scum. And Trump's actions, every action that Trump has, every decision that Trump has made, he is letting you know, as a working class citizen, your life means absolutely nothing to me. But Trump is gonna hide behind. He's just trying to keep everybody safe from Iran. Really interesting. Where's Tulsi Gabbard? Where's Tulsi? Did you take her on a cruise, throw her overboard? You told us about a year ago that you bombed. It was a wonderful operation. I bombed Iran's nuclear facilities into the ground. It's been destroyed. It's been devastated. It's the greatest military operation in the history of the world. Only to be trying to put boots back on the ground right now. Well, we all know why Trump's doing it, because that's what his boss, Benjamin Netanyahu, wants. Benjamin Netanyahu on 60 Minutes with the smirk on his face. There's still more work to be done. Well, guess what? The IDF, these brave warriors of the IDF, let them fight your own battles. Every single soldier in the IDF better be on that battlefield. Every one of you. Every citizen in America with dual citizenship between America and Israel, you better be on that battlefield in Lebanon, in Iran. If you want boots on the ground so bad, fight your own war. I'm so tired of this. I'm so tired of it. I don't care what I get called. I just don't care. You don't like hearing the truth? Too bad. And Netanyahu is the prime minister of a foreign country telling 60 Minutes like, hey, I decide when it's enough. I decide, meaning Benjamin Netanyahu, if there's going to be boots on the ground. Would any other country, would any other country allow one of their biggest news networks to interview a president from another country or a prime minister or whatever and give the inkling to that audience that he's in control of that country? Don't you think this is totally out of hand at this point? I mean, I don't know how you can look at it any other way. I don't know how anybody supports Trump at this point. I mean, just the gas prices alone. When you go to and what is Trump doing? He's already back. Oh, the Vietnam War lasted 17 years, and this war lasted 10 years, and this one lasted 15. What are you trying to tell us, Trump? And here's the thing: Trump keeps saying, "Oh, we got more gas than we need. You know, we got more gas than we need to have, and that we need to. You know, we don't have to ask anybody for gas." But yet, gas prices are through the roof. And you know why they're through the roof? Because Trump and his billionaire, low-life friends are making billions upon billions of dollars every hour at the pump. According to Trump, they got more gas than they know what to do with. That's Trump's exact words. We got more gas. That's what I was trying to say before. We got more gas than we know what to do with. And you hear people like Jim Jordan, another clown, another fraud that needs to be prosecuted. Anybody that's taking money from AIPAC needs to be prosecuted and sent to prison. In 2028, we need to bring it down. In 2028, if you took money from AIPAC, you need to be prosecuted. Why are we allowing a foreign entity to corrupt both sides of the aisle to make American citizens' lives completely miserable and hard as hell? And we're just going to keep letting that go on? The new leadership is going to keep You hear this, you hear this about Tucker Carlson, they'll be like, the pro-Israeli side will say, if Tucker Carlson is taking money from Qatar, he needs to be prosecuted. Why? I don't care if he takes money from Qatar. I could care less. But why don't you keep that same energy for all the politicians taking money from Israel? And you'll say, well, Qatar is a terrorist nation. Israel is the biggest terrorist nation on the entire planet. Just ask South Lebanon right now what's going on. Stealing their homes, their land, their houses. Oh, let me guess, they have nuclear weapons too, right, Benjamin Netanyahu? Right, Israel? Right, the IDF soldiers? Right, Mossad? Right. Sure they do. It's all about expanding Israel's borders. Trump is a part of it. Our entire government is corrupt. Jim Jordan, he's taking millions from AIPAC. He needs to be in prison too. Don't let him fool you with the, golly gee sucks. Let me roll up my sleeves. I'm from Ohio and I'm for the working man. I was a four-time NCAA double champion in wrestling or whatever. Don't let these people fool you. Don't let these people fool you. All you got to do is follow the money who's paying them. And Jim Jordan is taking millions from AIPAC. He needs to be arrested and prosecuted. And this all needs to come to an end. No more foreign money to our politicians. No more special interest group money to our politicians. It's time to make them tremble. It's time to make them afraid. It's time for new leadership and new management to take control and put prosecutors in there that are going to go after. Listen, Trump deserves to be in prison, sitting right next to Netanyahu, sitting right next to J.D. Ozempic, sitting right next to Marco Rubio, sitting right next to Gavin Newsom, sitting right next to AOC, sitting next to every single politician that takes money from AIPAC. That's where they all need to be. Just absolutely, you see Trump and you see it's all gone. It's got the 2016 Trump. He is completely gone. He's in like Jupiter. I have no clue who that man is. I have no clue who this Trump is right now. I mean, we all know what it is. He's bought, his pizzazz is gone. He might put on a front and like, oh, it don't bother me. I don't care what nobody says, but we're all human to it, He knows what he did. He knows he sold us all down the river. So he knows that there's this vibe or energy towards him that from the American. I mean, look at his polling. It's at 20-25%. It's the worst. And they're still blaming Joe Biden. Jim Jordan was telling that lie today too. Oh, Joe Biden's responsible for let me tell you, nobody despised Joe Biden more than me. Nobody despised Hussein Obama more than me. And guess what? Gas prices were never this high one day under either one of those presidents' candidacy. Excuse me. Not one day. And they'll just look at like what we don't remember being at the pump. Joe Biden was president for 4 years. Not one day was gas this high. Hussein Obama, 8 years. Not one day. Just disgusted. Absolutely. And getting back to Trump, the way he sounds when they're interviewing him. I mean, can we elect a president that you'll be like, yeah, he looks like he's got a lot. He looks young. He's got a lot of life in him. When are we going to learn? Keep electing boomers. You see who's causing all the trouble. Do you think Trump is working on healthcare for any of us? Do you think Trump might be working on free college? Don't call me a socialist. I'm not a socialist at all. The amount of money that you get taxed on every single thing in this country, healthcare and free college should be part of that. You shouldn't pay $1 at any university. We need to send the best and brightest minds to college for free. We don't need to stress them out worrying about healthcare and debt. I seen an article on a young kid today. I think he was Canadian. He built this electronic turtle, and the turtle goes into the sea, and it can smell like contaminants or pollution or something, and it's 99.9% accurate in finding pollution under the sea. This is the type of minds that we need to find as Americans. Put them in college for free and design our society and not burden them with debt or worry. Do you think Trump cares? Do like Trump, all you keep hearing from Jim Jordan is Trump, and Trump is this. Oh, Trump is going to make America, he's thinking about 20, 30, 40 years from now about making, keeping the country the greatest country that it's ever been. Meanwhile, every decision that he's making is not America first or making the country better. At all. He's not going to discuss education and healthcare. He's totally bypassed that. I mean, he's not going to discuss Trump's not going to discuss a border wall. He's not going to discuss education. He's not going to discuss healthcare. It's just totally gone. It's all Israel, Israel, Israel. Poor little Israel. Poor, the poor Israelis. Because we don't do enough for them. We don't give them enough. We're not doing enough for them. According to Israel and their supporters, we're not doing enough for them. Benjamin Netanyahu, I've said it multiple times. He gets on TV and he says, Israel doesn't need any money from the United States of America. We don't need their military either. We could fight. Okay, we're calling your bluff. We're calling your bluff. That ungrateful attitude, let's call your bluff. Let's see how long you last in the Middle East when America says, okay, we're gracefully bowing out. You can deal with your own problems. Let's see how you do then. Because I'm looking forward to calling your bluff, honestly. Yeah, the glasses, they keep steaming up, keep fogging up. Maybe the steam's coming out of my head because I'm so mad about what's going on. But all right, so Adam Sosnick, he's just a disgrace. Sosnick, he goes on the Piers Morgan show. And everybody was tuning in. There was a lot of people that were going to watch this debate because the way Dave Smith absolutely trounced Sosnick in the last debate. And Piers Morgan has a big audience to begin with. And when you watch this debate, it was very, very lame. There wasn't really a lot of debating going on. And when I truly believe this is 1,000%, I know what it is. When you watch the clip that I'm going to play, Sosnick, he loves to throw it in there that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. That was the entire reason for Sosnick going on the Piers Morgan podcast, to tell that lie to the Piers Morgan audience, because you know what the CIA says. You know what certain government officials say. If you keep repeating a lie over and over and over again, the people will believe it. Because when you watch this debate, it's not really a debate. Dave Smith and him really don't go at it. It's really I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's 45 minutes, but it's just super lame. And when I'm watching it, I'm just like, what was the purpose of this? And now I know the purpose. Everybody was tuning in to see part 2. They wanted to see Sosnick get destroyed. We all know that the PBD, all Sosnick is, all he is an Israeli propagandist on one of the bigger podcasts. They do this all the time. Ben Shapiro's not worried that his show isn't doing well. The other idiot, Mark Levin, a little fat mole, a little dirty mole, he doesn't care his show's not doing well. It's an Israeli propaganda show, just like Sosnick. He's put on the show intentionally with Patrick Bet-David to push the Israeli propaganda, to promote candidates that are Israel first. He's doing his job. Why don't you think he ever gets fired for all the garbage that comes out of his mouth? Dave Smith even says it. He goes, you're probably the dumbest person in this space who talks. Patrick Bet-David is all about performance, right? And the businessman and the numbers guy. Well, he sees his numbers plummeting, through the roof, like an anchor that hit the water, and he doesn't fire Sosnick. You know what? You know why he doesn't fire Sosnick? Because Sosnick is doing exactly what he's supposed to do. And there's an FBI agent, I forget his name. He's on a lot of clips on TikTok. He talks about this, right? He talks about people like Sosnick and certain podcasters. They approach podcasters who have an audience or people that they think are influential. And they pretty much tell them like, hey, they threaten them like, you could do your podcast, but we're going to tell you one thing that we want you to say to your audience, and we'll give you, $10,000 a month. You just got to, when we call you, you got to say this. Or we'll release, your Google searches to the public, or we'll charge you with a crime. They got 200,000 crimes on the book. Everything's illegal now. They could pretty much charge you with anything. And the podcasters do it because, they're getting paid good money. And people don't understand. They're like, oh, so wait, the person's whole podcast is fake? No, that's not how it works. That's like right now what Megyn Kelly's doing. That's right now what Tucker Carlson's doing. That's, right now what PBD's doing. They go about their podcast. They're going to throw out the things that everybody knows. It's like Tucker and Megyn. You know what they're doing? They're bashing. They know Trump's presidency's over with his they know it's over with his voting base. But 6 months from now, a year from now, they're going to be like, oh, don't forget to vote for JD Ozempic. Okay, so you're telling us all these things that we know. We know Israel's controlling both sides of the aisle, and then you'll promote candidates that we all know are Israel first. So they're doing their job. You see certain podcasters do this. Like they'll say like one thing that doesn't really make sense, like out of left field, because they get paid and they get fed certain things to tell their audience. And that's what Sosnick did here on the show with Piers Morgan. The only reason why Sosnick was on the show was to feed to the audience that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. And if you watch the case and you watch the hearings and you're paying attention, guess what? The bullet that went into Charlie Kirk's neck didn't match Tyler Robinson's gun. And this whole thing that Tyler Robinson confessed, he didn't confess. That's a complete lie. And he didn't plead guilty. He pled not guilty. He didn't confess. And now the bullet doesn't match the you-know-what. But Sosnick will still push the Fed slop that Tyler Robinson murdered Charlie Kirk. Oh, Sosnick, you think you're so crafty, don't you? You just think you're so crafty, buddy. Well, you're not. So let me play a little bit of this.
Okay, so to recap, we gave away over $1 million in fan cash last December alone. This is not a celebration.
Play Fan Cash Spins for a chance at $100,000 in daily rewards.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
And the body bag sauce.
I mean, his takes are unbearable. It's just like, it's hard to even listen to this.
His very last chance on Uncensored.
No one told me Adam was going to be on this.
Why is Adam on the comedy panel?
They tried to pump this up like a heavyweight fight, and you're going to watch. It was boring. It was lame. And again, it was only done because the powers that be know that millions of people are going to tune in to watch the debate and watch the Piers Morgan show. And Sosnick did his job. He pushed the Fed slop that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. That's it. That was the whole agenda behind the show.
I just need a minute to gather myself.
Listen, I did stand-up comedy in my 20s, and I know funny.
Well, you failed out of stand-up comedy, and Pete Davidson became a multi-millionaire famous success from it. So maybe you're not in a position to determine whether it's good comedy or not.
What's the funniest joke Pete Davidson has ever said other than that joke? Dave Smith.
Oh, that voice.
Adam,
I gotta hurry
really
up
are
here.
like one of the dumbest people who talks.
Piers, you a real wigger.
Racism, sexism. I'm obviously not a fan of self-promotion or of saying I told you so. I did write a best-selling book explaining why. This week, another case in point. The roast of Kevin Hart aired on Netflix on Sunday and has been debated breathlessly ever since. There was something to offend everybody. Racism, sexism, ableism, classism, sizeism, anti-Semitism. A bit like one of our debates if you watch from the standpoint of Ben Shapiro. It was, by some margin, more shocking than the kind of content which used to result in literal walkouts by woke left Netflix employees. The era of anything goes is truly back in full swing, it seems. But that doesn't mean everyone's enjoying it. Jokes about Charlie Kirk and George Floyd, for example, have sparked a heated debate about whether insult humour oversteps the mark and about the competing hypocrisies of the left and right. So can comedy ever...
Oh, yeah, let's compare the Charlie Kirk situation to whatever his name is, the St. George Floyd.
...go too far? And if the answer is yes, where is that line and who should get to decide? Regular viewers probably know my view. The line is wherever I decide it should be, often based on whether I personally like or know the person involved. And so for a change, I'm going to let my comedy panel have their say. They each have a strong track record for making us laugh, in some cases unintentionally. Podcaster and comedian Dave Smith, who's back on tour in June. Tickets are definitely available, although I'm here running out quickly. Returning to Uncensored, Adam the Body Bag Sosnick. PBD tells me this will be his very last chance on Uncensored, which I'm sure he will grasp. Media personality Emily Wilson, host of the Emily Saves Qatar podcast.
Oh my God, this lady's voice is just like, it'll make you want to jump off a bridge.
And Jay Dyer. So welcome to all of you.
Why is Adam on the comedy panel?
Why is Adam on the comedy panel?
Let's start.
Emily, I was a failed stand-up comedian. I was a failed stand-up comedian that got into finance and decided to focus on making money, which I know a lot of you influencers need to learn a little bit more about that, but happy to be here, Piers.
Well, hopefully we'll learn as we go along about.
Sosnick is so arrogant for a person that has absolutely zero talent. He just knows the right people. Again, he's on the PBD show because he's an Israeli propagandist, agent, one. And number two, he keeps PBD from getting strikes on his channel because we all know who he's hooked up with. So
comedy in the modern age, particularly this year. Because, Dave, as I said at the start, I wrote a book called Woke is Dead, and the premise of it was not that it was actually finished off, but the worm had turned about this kind of thing. And there can't be a bigger example, surely, than Netflix, which has historically been filled with many, traditionally woke employees who had protested, numerous times about stuff, who on this occasion have allowed Netflix to air one of the most inappropriate, outrageous, shocking, shaming, and all the other isms that I recited earlier about absolutely everything shows imaginable. What does that tell us about where we've reached?
God, how is Piers Morgan how is he like the head of corporate media? Like, why are people like this making the amount? He's unbearable too. He really is. I just don't understand who can watch this on a consistent basis. Obviously, I have to because I have to pay attention to this to report on it. Am I going to tune into Piers Morgan to get news or information if I want? It's just like, wow.
In the woke trajectory.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, it's very interesting for me because as you know, Piers, I'm kind of like a hybrid or what, I'm kind of in both the political and the I'm a touring stand-up comedian. But when I come on your show, I'm not really coming on as a comedian. I'm also obsessed with politics and I like talking about this stuff. I've watched this. I watched the whole rise of wokeism, its effect on comedy, and the fall of it. And essentially what happened was just that the market spoke. Guys like the best example I thought ever was.
And by the way, Tropic Thunder with what's his name? Downey Jr. is one of the funniest movies ever. It's just and they asked him, could you do that movie now? He's like, absolutely not. It's just whatever, man. Oh yeah, because if you put the paint on your face, you're trying to reenact Jim Crow laws. It's just so ridiculous. It really is. Can we all just grow up at it? It's just can everybody just grow up and understand the context of things? It's you're at a comedy show and they want to talk about worldly events. Does that mean you think that Charlie Kirk should have been, what? Do you really think that it's just everybody's entitled to their opinion as long as they're not hurting people? You're entitled to your opinion. It's like me. If you don't like me, fine. You could say whatever. You could be 3 feet away from me and call me every name in the book. I don't care. It becomes different when you think you're going to put your hands on me or be violent towards me. I'm always going to be a man and defend myself because that's my God-given right. But as far as just words, I don't care. Literally, you could be 2 feet away from me. I don't care. You could say, you can call me whatever name you want. That's your opinion, and you're entitled to it.
When Shane Gillis got invited back to host, and he's done it a couple times now, Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, the guy got fired as a cast member and then got brought in to host the whole show. And you know why? Because he was selling out stadiums all over the country. Yeah. And at a certain point, the Netflix and Saturday Night Live, they look at it and they go, well, we need the people. I mean, that's our business model. And because of, and we could get, a whole book could be written on this, but by the very fundamental nature of what wokeism is, it cannot be funny. It's impossible to be woke.
I totally agree.
The only thing that wokeism does is drain you and make you completely miserable on either side. It's just okay, whatever. If you ever want to be drained, just listen to an ultra woke liberal talk. Listen to Mark Ruffalo. If you ever just if you were in a good mood and you wanted to be in the worst mood ever, listen to a Mark Ruffalo talk. A guy that's made billions of dollars off his shit movies and then wants to preach to the rest of us how we should live and think and how he hates his own skin and he hates America. He is the biggest piece of garbage, one of the biggest pieces of garbage on the planet. He's ultra woke. If you ever wanted to exhaust yourself, it would be like taking kryptonite and put it around Superman's neck. That's what it's like when you listen to an ultra wokester talk. I saw this girl the other day on a podcast, and the guy's like, "What is 2 + 2?" And the girl literally goes into this whole like paragraph. Well, if there's molecules involved and there's molecular whatever, it could be something else. And I'm just like, and the guy's like, "Are you effing kidding me?" And then she calls him a racist. You're just like, it's like a meme. Like you just like blink. You're like, as the life gets sucked out of your body.
And so, in the comedy world, when wokeism came in, everything became a lecture. Everything became about like making this point.
All right, I promise I'll stop pausing it. I don't watch dating shows, but I remember watching a commercial to a dating show, and it was this white girl, and she was going out with this black guy contestant, and she tells him that she loves yoga, and then he starts to tell her, like, he starts to lecture her that she's stealing other people's cultures by taking yoga. And she's like sitting there like, "Oh, really? Oh, really? Oh, really?" I would have told him, F you. That's what I would have told him. Go F yourself. And she sits there and she's like, "Okay, please scold me." And everybody applauded him for his bravery. It was called bravery because he enlightened the white girl that she was stealing other people's culture because she liked the yoga. It's like, holy shit. Like, what planet am I on right now?
And that's just the enemy of funny. And so you watched it. Comedy Central was like, dude, when I started comedy, so I've been doing stand-up for 20 years. When I started, Comedy Central, the comedy network in America, had The Chappelle Show, South Park, Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn, The Daily Show, and The Colbert Report. It was like some of the greatest comedy shows that have ever been made. And in the era of wokeism, they just produced like nothing. And so essentially, yeah, I think you're right, Piers. Wokeism still exists. The tides have turned, and it's now a super majority issue to oppose it because it's stupid, and it always has been.
Well, what I thought watching the Netflix special was that I used to watch a lot of those roasts. I remember them, and they were always
wokeism was designed to make white people hate themselves. I mean, just call for exactly what it is. They wanted, whoever designed it wanted white people to hate themselves, hate their skin, hate their parents. It's just like, whatever, man.
It's completely outrageous, and they always involved incredibly shocking and outrageous jokes and deeply offensive. That was the whole point of being roasted. The roastee would be absolutely torn to pieces in the most shocking, personal and offensive manner imaginable. And I remember there was a famous northern comic in the UK called Bernard Manning, who was deemed too outrageous after the 80s to appear on television. But he used to sell out all his shows. And I went to see him in a working men's club, and he was completely hilarious, but shocking and outrageous, and would have fitted in very nicely to the roast kind of format. But when I interviewed
Piers' pink panties were in a bunch when he went to watch the comedian.
I said to him, he told jokes about everything, right? And they were all offensive and would have got him cancelled left, right and centre if he'd done it in the last few years. But what he said was, I took a view, he said, early on in my comedy career, that I wasn't going to make an exception for anybody. Because the moment you make an exception, the moment you give one section of society a comedic pass from being offended by a joke, you never stop.
Well, Piers, since you're on the topic, what about the young girl in Florida that made a bonbon joke about Israel because she didn't want to go to class and asked Benjamin Netanyahu, "Can you please drop some bonbons in my college lake so I don't have to do my paper?" And then Ron DeSantis had the Florida Police Department knocking on her door, charging her with like 2 or 3 felonies with the possibility of going to prison for 20 years. Yes, that's happening in Florida. Don't ever call the state of Florida the free state of Florida, because Ron DeSantis is bought and paid for by Israel. And if you don't believe me with the story I just told, look it up. But hey, Piers doesn't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
In other words, once you say, right, I'm not going to tell jokes about, Jewish people or black people or whatever it may be, once you eliminate one section of community from your target range, you said, actually, you're being very exclusive, right? You're basically saying there's one rule for them and another rule for everybody else. And it made sense to me then. This was back in the early 90s I did this interview. But I thought of him when I watched the Netflix thing. Because, Adam, when I watched it, I was like, in a way, although some of the jokes I felt crossed a line, and I've said in the mono I'm a bit hypocritical, honestly, about my humour, and it really depends who they're doing it to and how they're doing it. And I think I have to admit that and say I have a bit of an inconsistency on this. But it was refreshing that it seemed like all the restrictions had come off. It was no holds barred. Kevin Hart found the whole thing hilarious. Everyone who was the subject of a shocking joke laughed, whether it was Chelsea Handler or Lizzo or The Rock.
Oh my God, you can't tell jokes now. It's just like, if you ever, just forget it.
Or wherever it was. I mean, Tony Hinchcliffe did 7 minutes of, it was literally jaw-dropping. It was so offensive. But everyone was laughing. And then it comes to the crunch point, which is what I want to ask.
When a comedian does a joke, like, do you really think he's showing his racism because he's doing a joke? I mean, they made a movie, White Man Can't Jump. They made a movie, White Chicks. Like, it's just like, does anybody really think that's racism? Like, oh, you're showing your racism? I mean, it's just like, okay, whatever.
Ask you, Adam, which is a joke that Pete Davidson told, and it was this. Let's watch.
You don't know what an AI work management platform is? Yikes. Here's 3 new AI-powered...
Tony reminds me of Charlie Kirk, in that he's definitely been on camera letting a guy unload in his throat.
Oh my God, that was so terrible. What are we gonna do? Like, oh my God. Oh my God. That is like the worst thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, we know the context that it's in, right? And wait, so it's not like he has like a regular job that, like, you know, like, you go to a regular job and you know you can't say certain things because it's inappropriate, correct? Like, you know, like, oh, there's certain things you can't say at certain jobs. His job is being a comedian. You understand the context that it's in. Do you really think that he thinks it's funny that Charlie Kirk got, you know what? Like, does anybody really remotely think that? Because if you do, there's something wrong with you.
So there will be a lot of people who will have found that crossed a line, that it was too offensive, that it's too soon after Charlie's murder. And you got to think of his wife, his widow, his family, his kids.
Oh my God.
People around him who would have probably found that horrendous.
Oh my God, Piers. I just can't with these people. I cannot take this guy. This is the same guy that got on TV and said, he's from the UK or whatever. And he's like, I don't care if the UK gets taken over by Muslims. Or I don't know if he used the word illegal Muslims or Islam. No, I think he said, I don't care if the UK gets taken over by Islam and it becomes an Islamic state. That's what he said about his own countrymen. I'm assuming he's Irish, like Catholic. And the country he's from, what was it founded on? It wasn't founded on Islam. And he doesn't have a problem with that? And you'd be like, oh, you're being racist right now. No, I'm not being racist. If you grew up in a Catholic Christian nation, and that's where you grew up, why would you want your nation to turn into an Islamic country when their culture is totally different from your culture? But Piers, you don't want to touch that topic either.
When you heard that joke from Peter, which got a mixed response, but when you heard that, did you feel that?
Oh, yeah, Piers, when they ask you to do the call to prayer 5 times a day, starting at 5 in the morning, or they make you fast, you know, are you going to have a problem with it then? Oh, that's right. You live in Beverly Hills now, so why would you care?
What's the line?
Well, listen, Piers, I did stand-up comedy in my 20s, and I decided to focus on making money, and that's how I met PBD in the finance world, and we started the podcast together in 2020, but I know funny.
Hold on, let me stop him there. So he wants you to believe that he went to PBD and they decided to start a podcast. Like, Sosnick wants you to believe like he's a founder of the PBD podcast. I find that very hard to believe because he has no talent, zero.
What happened with me personally, and I'll get to Charlie Kirk because I knew Charlie Kirk very well, is I said, rather than being a stand-up comedian and sleeping on friends' couches, let me make some money. 10 years later, I made a bunch of money. I owned a stand-up comedy club, and I hired...
That's not what happened. Nobody, like, I bet you people got up and left and went to the bathroom when you were doing your sets.
Comedians. In fact, the biggest star on SNL, I found him when he was 19, Marcelo Hernandez, who has the #1 show on Netflix right now. He actually worked for myself and PBD at Valuetainment. So I know funny. I'm sitting in a van down by the...
Did you catch that? Did you catch that? Marcelo actually worked for me and PBD at Valuetainment. Now Sosnick is trying to present himself as a founder and boss at the PBD podcast. You are a podcaster who gets scolded pretty much every day for your stupid takes and not having respect for women or anybody else on the show. You're not a founder of the podcast. You're not a boss at the podcast.
The river right now, sweating my tush off right here. I'll shout out to Chris Farley. I've been around funny people. In fact, you know Vinny Oshana, who's on your show, one of the funniest, greatest people, who's about to cross 1 million in comedy. He's incredible. But there's...
You see how he says something good to say about Vinny, like on the Piers Morgan show? Did you ever watch the PBD podcast? How every time Vinny talks, how Adam mocks every single thing that comes out of his mouth and like, listen, little goyim, shut up. Like, and it's not just like one time or like, and he does it all the time with zero respect for Vinny. He has no respect for Vinny. This is just him putting on a show. This is what Adam does because he thinks he's smart and that nobody can see through the manipulative games that he plays.
There's also people who make their name in this career by not being that funny. Pete Davidson is one of them. Jimmy Kimmel is one of them. I'm not going to go there and say Dave Smith is one of them. That's not what I'm going to do. But the reality is Charlie Kirk was an absolute hero. And what's happening with him, people are literally taking their proverbial shots at him. The bottom line is this. Pete Davidson, name one famous joke he's ever made. I can tell you jokes that Dave Chappelle made.
Now that he's attacking Pete Davidson, I don't pay attention to Pete Davidson at all. Like I don't know, whatever. But if I had to bet, if I had to do some research, I guarantee Pete Davidson has been critical of Israel, and that's why Adam is saying this. If I had to bet.
That George Carlin made, that every single comedian had famously made, Chris Rock, right? Bring me the big piece of chicken. What has Pete Davidson ever done that's been funny? In fact, when your dating career is more in the headlines than your comedy career, you're probably not that funny. So it's just part.
Yeah, that's kind of like your takes on the PBD show, Adam. Kind of like your takes, Sosnick. People talk about your takes in a negative way, every single one. Do you ever read the comment section in the PBD show, Sosnick? Like, yeah, you're criticizing David's, and then like you think like you're this ultra talented person that everybody's like, you think everybody thinks you're doing a good job, or you incite them with such wisdom. Talk about being delusional or living in a bubble.
For the course. But the bottom line is this. We need to stop being so offended in this country and realize that free societies love comedians. And that's where we are.
Right.
Really? You need to stop being offended, and we need to live in a free society. But then he has no problem with Ben Shapiro. He has no problem with Mark Levin. He's got no problem with Benjamin Netanyahu demanding that we implement all these anti-Israel hate speech laws, or demanding that Larry Ellison be able to buy up, all of social media, and whoever criticizes Israel will be banned from all of social media, lose employment. But Sosnick wants you to believe that he's all about freedom of speech because that's what America is founded on, unless you criticize Israel. And if you criticize them, even just for the policy that's going on, what's going on with the policy, and AIPAC and everything else, and you have legitimate questions and legitimate problems with them, not just hateful rhetoric, they don't even want you to discuss that. And if you do discuss it, they want to destroy your lives. Look what they try to do to Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson, I don't like Tucker Carlson, but Tucker Carlson never says, like, I hate Jewish people. He's criticizing the country of Israel. He's criticizing the way that American politicians are corrupted by Israel. He's criticizing the way AIPAC operates on American soil. And they do everything in their power to destroy his life or get him shut down or get him banned. And they do the same thing to Candace Owens, and they do the same thing to Nick Fuentes. And guess what? You don't have to like what people say ever, but they're entitled to their opinion.
But so you end with a little stinger at the end because it looked like you were going down a path of saying you thought Pete Davidson crossed a line. So do you think he crossed a line? And should Netflix have aired that joke?
I don't think there's any line you can cross. The market will speak. If Pete Davidson wants to start doing stand-up comedy shows again and nobody shows up, let the market speak. I believe in free market capitalism.
The market has spoke on you, Sosnick. And it's crazy. You know, PBD, a numbers guy, all about business, and you still have a job. You're pretty much, Sosnick is responsible for taking the PBD show like in a total nosedive. And people blame PBD too because PBD allows them to do it. But, you know, the market will decide. Well, the market is pretty much, you know, determined how they think about Sosnick.
I don't believe in censorship. I don't believe in cancel culture, even if you're unfunny. If we were canceled.
He doesn't believe in cancel culture or censorship unless you're criticizing Israel. Then your life needs to be destroyed.
Unfunny people. There's a lot of comedians that would have been canceled years ago, Pete Davidson being one of them. So there's no line to cross.
Okay. And Dave, I didn't get a chance to specifically ask you about it. So just very quickly, what did you think of that joke?
It was hilarious. It was a great joke. I don't even like understand entertaining this conversation of whether it crossed the line.
Exactly.
And as you pointed out, Piers, right? Like it just shows everybody's hypocrisy immediately because like the people who are outraged about the George Floyd joke aren't outraged about the Charlie Kirk joke and vice versa. It's a roast. It's edgy comedy. And if you don't like it, then don't watch it. It's really that simple. And
exactly. Kind of like my channel. I have people that complain about my channel that they're insulted. You know who you are. Then don't watch it. Nobody's forcing you to watch the channel.
No, I mean, look, I'm friends with Pete, or I was friends with Pete when we were coming up in comedy together. And like, again, Adam can have whatever opinion he wants.
And one of them is a real tough guy too. He's so tough. All right.
On who he thinks is funny and who isn't funny. The bottom line is that millions of people love Pete Davidson. And if he does go on a stand-up tour, he'll be selling out giant theaters. So like, if you don't like it, that's fine.
And he also,
that was a hilarious joke.
He also does a lot of these roasts, and he regularly has awful jokes told about his father who died on 9/11, and he laughs and accepts.
That's true.
Right, but Piers, but it's all about, obviously, right, with comedy, it's all about the intention, right? Like, the intention of anyone doing comedy is to try to get everyone in the room to crack up laughing.
Right.
That's the goal. Pete does it. The goal when Pete tells that joke isn't like to get people to walk out. It's to kill to make it as edgy as possible and still hit you with a big punchline. And that's it. That's the the way comedy works. It's a discussion between the comic and the audience.
Well, I'll say that joke was
that
the reason that we're having this discussion right now is because the joke was actually, in my opinion, Dave, you're entitled to yours, not funny. It was completely offensive. Gay, Tony Hinchcliffe, sexual reference to the throat. Sure.
But Adam, couldn't you acknowledge, like, and I'm not trying to take a shot at you here, you failed out of being a stand-up, well, you failed out of stand-up comedy and Pete Davidson became a multi-millionaire famous success from it. So maybe you're not in a position to determine whether it's good comedy or not.
Oh, talk about getting destroyed as usual. Talk about not reading the room, but this is typical Sosnick.
No, the fact that I owned a comedy club.
Oh, here we go. He owned the club. So that means that he can write jokes, tell jokes, and, you know, he's like the god of the comedy world, and he can decide what's good comedy and what's bad comedy because, you know, his daddy and his rich friends gave him money to buy a comedy club.
I hired hundreds of comedians. Gives me the credibility to say,
my God.
I know what's funny and not funny.
There is no
because
opinion.
I've seen people who sell out
Let me
crowds.
just tell you this.
Dave, listen. Let me speak. Dave, let me speak. You just spoke.
There's no one's opinion.
Relax, Dave. Let me at least.
See, this is what he does to Vinny too. He'll be like, relax, like they're getting over emotional. This is one of the way he tries to discredit them or like character assassinate. Like the other person's acting overly emotional, and he's like this calm, smooth operator and professional. He's just a manipulative piece of garbage. That's what he is.
Speak. Okay, I'm just. Are you gonna let me speak or no?
I'm pretty relaxed.
You started so well, you two.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
See, Dave, when he does that to Vinny like he feels bad for, because Vinny's very nice. So he does the same tactic to Vinny. He'll do it to Tom sometimes. It's a tactic that he uses to make himself look better than you. That's all it is.
Reality is this. The reason we're doing this show right now, because it really wasn't that funny. What's the funniest joke Pete Davidson has ever said other than that joke? Dave Smith, comedian.
I know a ton of Pete
exactly.
Davidson
He's
jokes,
never
dude.
told a funny joke.
All right, let me bring in Emily.
Again, I don't follow Pete Davidson. I don't know anything about him. Obviously, I know he's a comedian. But if Sosnick is attacking him like this, that's probably because he's been critical of Israel. I would bet on that.
Emily Wilson.
Adam,
Emily,
really
welcome back
like
to
one of the dumbest people who talks for a living.
Let me bring Emily back in.
Let me rewind that.
Go ahead.
Welcome you.
Dave Smith, comedian.
Let me just tell you this.
Dave, listen, let me speak.
I didn't catch that part, so I gotta hear that again.
Let me speak. You just spoke.
There's no one's
relax,
opinion.
Relax, Dave. Let me at least speak. Okay, I'm just. Are you gonna let me speak or no?
I'm pretty relaxed.
You started so well, you two.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. The reality is this. The reason we're doing this show right now, because it really wasn't that funny. What's the funniest joke Pete Davidson has ever said other than that joke? Dave Smith, comedian.
I know a ton of Pete
exactly.
Davidson
He's
jokes,
never
dude.
told a funny joke.
All right, let me bring in Emily. Emily Wilson.
Adam,
Emily,
really
welcome back
like
to
one of the dumbest people who talks for a living.
Let me bring Emily back in.
Exactly. Pete Davidson is like a multi-millionaire from telling jokes, and Adam's like, name one joke that sticks out in eternity in the joke record book. That's the best joke ever. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, arguing with him is like literally arguing with a third grader. Literally, that's what it's like. And he's on the PBD show destroying the entire show. And you know why? Because he's not there for that. He's there, to be an Israeli propaganda. That's what he does. He'll throw in little bits and pieces to the PBD audience every now and then about pro-Israel slop. That's Adam's job. That's why he has a job. And that's why he doesn't get fired.
Welcome you back to the show. Emily, what did you think of that joke? Because the George Floyd joke, which Dave referenced, was this was Tony Hinchcliffe, who said, the black community is so proud of you to Kevin Hart. Right now, George Floyd is looking up at us all, laughing so hard he can't breathe. And again, there were gasps, and then some people were laughing, some were clapping. Did you find that joke funny?
ChatGPT, can I make money on Airbnb
oh my God,
with $0?
my virgin ears can't hear that.
Well, yeah, Piers, I can't be a hypocrite. If you recall, you were very upset about my joke about George Floyd that I had made previously. So, yeah, I do think it's funny. I also don't put George Floyd and Charlie Kirk in the same category.
Well, bingo, I'll agree. I mean, it's George Floyd, the 9-time felon, you're comparing him to Charlie Kirk, who was, in the throat because he had a different opinion than other people. I mean, comparing the two is it's a joke in itself.
I thought the entire special was really good. I thought it was really funny. The only problem is I just didn't think that joke about Charlie Kirk was funny. I think he could have took that joke, used anyone else in a different scenario, and I think it would have been more funny.
Then for you?
Comparing a line that is supposed to be crossed, it's comedy. Do I think it's inappropriate? Yeah. Do I think it was uncalled for? Yeah. Do I think he could have done a better job? I don't think he's funny, and I don't think the joke was funny. You're comparing a guy who has children that are going to grow up and see these things, whose throat got shot out, traumatizing millions of people around the world.
I think the most traumatizing thing to Erica Kirk's children is Erica Kirk herself, because she is downright scary. Oh my God, was that an inappropriate joke? No, that's how I feel, and I'm entitled to feel how I want to feel.
Like, I'm sorry, what's the politically correct statement? Blowing loads in the guy's throat? Those two things have nothing in common. It makes no sense, and I don't think it's funny.
But
should Netflix,
you're perfectly entitled to find it funny or not. And as Dave said, there were lots of people that were cracking up, and there'll be other people who were outraged. But a lot of people felt Netflix shouldn't have aired the Charlie Kirk joke.
Oh my God. Like, people were outraged about a joke and it shouldn't have aired on Netflix. It's just like, you're outraged about that, but not what Trump is doing to the country. That's what outrages you. AIPAC doesn't outrage you, but a joke on Netflix outrages you. $5 gas prices at the pump doesn't outrage you, but a joke from Netflix does. Telling children that there's 140 genders and you could switch yours and chop off your penis, that doesn't make you outraged. But a joke from Netflix does.
George Floyd.
No, Netflix should 100% air it. The irony of Netflix is how woke and sensitive they are. So for them to ironically choose to air the one thing that targeted the most loved conservative is such bullshit. I'm sorry. That's the hypocrisy.
Look at Sosnick, like shit. It's just like I just can't with him. I really can't.
Of it all. I mean, obviously you have Ted Sarandos, who is a huge liberal, but I'm like, these are the same groups of people that were supportive of canceling Kevin Hart, that were also supportive of canceling Tony Hinchcliffe, but when it's aimed...
Could you imagine listening to her do a comedy set for 60 minutes in that voice? Wow. I might have to go in full straitjacket, institutionalized.
A conservative, all of a sudden the rules go out the window.
I mean, it is interesting. I do remember Tony Hinchcliffe, when he gave that speech at the rally for Trump just before the election, outrage over some of the jokes he made then and calls for him to be cancelled and so on. And they would be by a lot of people who would consider themselves woke left, who have been oddly a little bit quiet about what Netflix have done here. Let me bring in Jay Dyer. Welcome to Uncensored, Jay. What did you feel about not just the Charlie Kirk joke, but also the George Floyd one, those two in particular?
Well, my first inclination was to feel that it was inappropriate. However, I remember the last time I was doing a stand-up event in LA, I made the joke that we know what happened to the magic bullet in the case of JFK because it went into the throat of RFK. So I feel like that joke, which went silent to the entire audience. Thank you. That was silent for the whole. The audience didn't think it was funny, but then I realized inappropriateness is actually the part that makes comedy funny. So while it may be inappropriate, it doesn't mean that it shouldn't be.
It's the context of where it's being done. You know, like you get told when you're a kid, there's a time and place for everything. Certain things you do at the table, certain things you don't do at the table. These are comedians at their job. So jokes should be okay. And if you don't want to be insulted, then don't go to a comedy show. I went to one comedy show in my life, one time. I went to see Artie Lang when he got out of rehab in Manhattan. Oh my God, it was so bad, man. It was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. You know, because he was miserable from not being able to drink or do drugs. Like when Artie was on the Howard Stern show and he wasn't sober, he was funny. And I just happened to catch him like literally the day he came out of rehab. Holy shit, it was the worst hour and 20 minutes of my, it was so bad. I can't even put in words how bad it was.
Aaron, and I'll have you know, Piers, the last time I was on, we were disagreeing about a certain word that starts with the letter N. And I'll have you know, the black community has given me 23 N-word passes, and I have chosen out of respect for you to not use them on your show.
Well, that would be entirely...
Like, he's not funny, but anyway.
It matter for you.
Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah. People can behave how they want.
Didn't the market... Hold on. So in the case of what you said about the PBD guy, didn't the market speak in the case of Pete Davidson? You said let the market speak. Didn't it speak?
Well, actually, to be honest, Jay Dyer raises an interesting point. Dave says that we bring you back in here.
How did the market speak about Pete Davidson and his comedy? Well, Adam, he makes a living off of it, making millions of dollars. So obviously the market likes it. You know, Adam is Sosnick is the smartest guy on the planet, and he's all about the market and making money. Well, Sosnick, if Pete Davidson gets commercials and does this and he does that, all from comedy, the market has spoke, right, Sosnick?
If he decided to tell a joke right now, Jay Dyer, including the M word repeatedly, would you feel that crosses a line?
No, personally, no, I don't. If you're talking about a joke.
Hold on, they're outraged about a joke, but they're not outraged about Charleston White. Like if you watch a Charleston White video, the way he talks about white people and other races, he's not even making jokes. He's just being blatantly racist towards anybody that's not black. Show never gets cut off. Nobody cares. Everybody just turns the page like, oh, that's what we expect. No big deal. It's just like you can't have it all these both ways. It's like either it's insulting and nobody can do it or everybody can do it.
the intention is to be funny, then I think he's trying to make people laugh. And again, people can have whatever feelings they want to about this, but can I just point this out? Because this is a very, like, I've made this point a lot through the years of wokeism. But Piers, imagine, let's say, because like I grew up in Brooklyn in the 80s and 90s, and like I've been in a few project buildings in my day, and I don't know if anyone's ever like hung with black people in the hood, but you wouldn't really characterize them as being sensitive. You know, like that's not really the way. It's always like white.
Dave, straight from the hood right here,
liberals.
Dave, okay?
It's kind of like.
That's funny, Sosnick, coming from you, because you think you're like Mr. Hood legend, and you're serious about it all the time, talking about the hoods of Miami, like you grew up there, you hang out there. But he's trying to mock Dave, who did grow up in Brooklyn, and you know what? Like you could live in Brooklyn and you go one street over, and it's like being in a different world. So leave it to Sosnick.
White liberals in defense of black people will like get very offended by this stuff. Just for example, let's say I had a really offensive joke, okay? Like a really edgy joke. And I were to go tell it on a job site.
Don't you love how white liberals always think that they somehow speak for black people? I know a lot of black people, and let me tell you something. There's one thing that they don't need other races to do for them is talk for them. Like if they have a problem with something, they're pretty much going to let you know. And you'll be like, oh, you're saying that you shouldn't. I'm not saying if you've seen something that's not right. That's not what I'm saying. But like, I always see that like white liberals think like they're going to talk for black people, that they understand black people and black problems more than a black person. I've noticed that about white liberals all the time.
And I were to go tell it on a job site, and then I were to go tell it at an Ivy League university. Where do you think I would draw more outrage? We all know it's at the Ivy League university. See, the thing is that people who have been through some fucked up shit tend to laugh at some fucked up jokes. And people who haven't been through that are like, what are you doing? I'm offended on behalf of these people. A lot of comedy is like a coping mechanism with the tragedy of life. And this is the way we do it. We try to laugh at that. My grandfather was a Jew who escaped Nazi Germany, and he loved Holocaust jokes. Like, life is complicated, man. And
exactly.
It's just, I don't...
Those are the best jokes, Dave. You're the best at that.
Okay, Adam, what are you trying to do here, buddy? Like, what are you...
Sosnick has no purpose other than just trying to insult people, like with the stupidest, like he's some superior being. He's just unbearable. He's unbearable.
I'm just saying those are good jokes. You're good at the Holocaust jokes.
Anyway. Okay, Adam. Okay.
I'm giving you a compliment.
Our debate from last time. Okay. So anyway,
great. We're bringing up previous
there
debates.
is this.
Stay on this, Dave.
Yeah, I thought that's the rule. We're allowed to.
Nobody can hear what he's saying.
Bring up previous debates where someone got destroyed. Remember?
Oh, exactly.
That's what you did last time.
There we go.
Okay, except I have one that
like you
I
and Coleman
did.
Hughes. So let's go.
I'm curious about. But this is what I want to know. Do you think if what happened to Charlie Kirk
This voice is like Big Bird
happened to a well-known and loved Democrat, that they would be telling any of these jokes? Absolutely not. Also, if you're saying the whole point of the joke is for the audience to thank you, and the whole point of the audience is to be like, this is hilarious, I'm a little, let's just say, unwell about the fact that the joke to the audience about getting his throat shot out, which traumatized millions of people, is like, ha, ha, ha. But yet Shane Gillis was like half the time getting oohs when it came to race, women, Jewish jokes. And I'm like, so they feel way more comfortable laughing about him. And they wouldn't say that about a Democrat. They just wouldn't.
Well, I certainly think it's true. I mean, had you had a big leading liberal Democrat figure assassinated like Charlie Kirk was, I don't think for a moment Netflix would have aired that joke about that person. So that I suspect there is a double standard, notwithstanding the fact that Netflix, in many people's eyes, deserve credit for sort of barreling through the woke period and saying, right, we're going to put this on our platform, right, with all its outrageous stuff.
When is comedy going to learn, just like everything else? All these Marvel movies that went woke, what happened? Nobody went to go see it. Nobody needs to get preached to during a Superman movie. It's just like, whatever, man, please.
Piers, I think you're making a...
Nobody needs a history lesson during, Green Lantern.
Good point. But I think Emily made a great point. And who...
Oh, I think Silver Surfer is non-binary. Okay, right.
Said that women can't be funny. Look at Emily Save America right now. But I'll tell you this. Let me just shift the conversation. I think we should stop being so offended by jokes and be offended by the people who actually committed the crimes. The Tyler Robinsons, the Luigi Mangionis, okay? I don't think that Ayatollah or Nazis.
All right, I have to rewind this. Sosnick's entire purpose for being on this show with Piers Morgan was to feed this slop right here about Tyler Robinson assassinating Charlie Kirk. Now, I let it play from the beginning for a while because I did want to watch it and, like, you know, react to it or whatever. But this is the main point that I was trying to make. Sosnick's entire existence for being on this Piers Morgan show, because, again, Piers Morgan and the powers that be knew that a ton of people were going to tune in to watch this debate. And let's look at the Fed slop that Sosnick tries to feed the audience. Let's watch it.
Point, but I think Emily made a great point. And who said that women can't be funny? Look at Emily Save America.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Just like you and Coleman Hughes, so let's go.
I'm curious about. But this is what I want to know. Do you think if what happened to Charlie Kirk happened to a well-known and loved Democrat, that they would be telling any of these jokes?
All right, it's coming. I rewinded a little bit too far, but it's coming.
Absolutely not. Also, if you're saying the whole point of the joke is for the audience to... Thank you. And the whole point of the audience is to be like, this is hilarious. I'm a little, let's just say, unwell about the fact that the joke to the audience about getting his throat shot out, which traumatized millions of people, is like, ha, ha, ha. But yet Shane Gillis was like half the time getting oohs when it came to race, women, Jewish jokes. And I'm like, so they feel way more comfortable laughing about him. And they wouldn't say that about a Democrat. They just wouldn't.
Well, I certainly think it's true. I mean, had you had a big leading liberal Democrat figure assassinated like Charlie Kirk was, I don't think for a moment Netflix would have aired that joke about that person. So that I suspect there is a double standard, notwithstanding the fact that Netflix, in many people's eyes, deserve credit for sort of barreling through the woke period and saying, right, we're going to put this on our platform, right, with all its outrageous stuff.
Piers, I think you're making a good point. By the way, I think Emily made a great point. And who said that women can't be funny? Look at Emily Save America right now. But I'll tell you this. Let me just show.
Did you see her face? He's just so unbearable. He doesn't even really know her. She just rolls her eyes at him like, ugh.
The conversation. I think we should stop being so offended by jokes and be offended by the people who actually committed the crimes. The Tyler Robinsons, the Luigi Mangionis, okay? I don't think that Ayatollah or Nazis are that funny. We should be outraged at those people, not people telling the jokes about the people that were assassinated by these people. So Charlie Kirk was an American hero. It's a shame to see how he's sort of a punchline at this point. But I believe in a free society. I believe in the free exchange of ideas. And even
he doesn't believe in a free society. He doesn't believe in anybody should be allowed to criticize Israel. And again, his whole purpose of being on the show today was to put that in Piers Morgan's audience about Charlie Kirk being assassinated by Tyler Robinson. He could be in a lot of trouble for that because in America, you are innocent until proven guilty. And Tyler Robinson's trial isn't over yet. So it's also trying to influence the jurors in the case, which he should be held liable for getting on a TV program, a big television show, and saying that Tyler Robinson assassinated Charlie Kirk. Innocent till proven guilty. If you're all about the free market, Sosnick, if you're all about American values, how about this value? You're innocent until you're proven guilty. And Tyler Robinson didn't even get to trial yet, for the most part. That was his job, to feed the Fed slop to the audience. That was his whole purpose of being on the Piers Morgan show. Don't let him fool you.
Even though I'm disgusted by the joke, he could say it all day, every day, Pete Davis.
Well, look, it's interesting. I mean, if you look, let me just say what George Floyd's family said by way of.
All right, I'm going to move on from this because this has been playing for a while, and I wanted to show you what Sosnick, the manipulator, was up to. And this was, again, this was not really a debate. Sosnick and Dave really didn't go at each other. Nobody really went at each other on the show. And I think that was agreed on before they went on the show because Sosnick got destroyed the first time. And all the viewers thought it was going to be like, you know, round one. And now they got here today. Everybody's tuning in. So Sosnick could push it on the audience that Tyler Robinson murdered Charlie Kirk. Meanwhile, he hasn't been found guilty yet. And again, the bullet from Tyler Robinson's gun doesn't match the bullet from in Charlie's neck. Tyler Robinson didn't plead guilty. He didn't admit his guilt either. That's another lie they keep telling. Innocent till proven guilty, Sosnick. Mr. America, Mr. Free Market, Mr. Freedom of Speech. We're on to you, Sosnick. Don't worry. People are paying attention, Sosnick. Believe it or not, people are paying attention. So President Trump, you know, he took a couple losses the other day. He goes on with Hannity. He fumbles. He goes on with BRET, he fumbles. You know, the true Trump comes out. He doesn't care about Americans suffering at the pump or in their pockets. He even admits he's doing this. You know, he attacked Iran. We didn't really need to attack Iran, meaning America and him. He's doing it for Israel. He's doing it for China. And you have to remember, Hannity and Fox News, they're Israel first. They were trying to throw Trump a layup so he can fix his image. Didn't work out. So let's get into these videos first. Let me play this one first, the shorter of the two. Okay, here it is, 14. Let me play this one with Sean Hannity first. Sean Hannity's trying to help Trump here.
You guys, after years of marriage, this right here is absolute magic. Blue Chew Gold.
There wasn't as much patch.
I love when Sean Hannity's like, why doesn't anybody watch Fox News anymore? Why doesn't anybody watch corporate media anymore? This is the exact reason why, Sean. Because you have Trump here in front of you, and you don't confront him about anything, nothing. You seem a little bit annoyed because, you know, you're probably annoyed because you're trying to throw him a layup and Trump's not smart enough to figure it out. This is exactly why nobody watches Fox News. I'm going to play it for you.
From your perspective, that welcome, how did you interpret that?
Well, we have a relationship, he and I, and we've been working together a long time. We've gotten along well. When I first came here, China was really taking advantage of the United States. He understands that. And now we do great with China, and we have a very good relationship. We have a friendship, really. He's a tremendous leader. He's been here a long time, very powerful.
Trump has a great relationship with China. The other day, the police arrested a Chinese national in New York for creating his own police station and spying on Chinese citizens who might be critical of the Chinese government. Then something happened in LA similar. China openly tells anybody willing to listen that their whole goal is to be the main superpower and overtake America and pretty much destroy us in every possible way. And Trump here, he claims that, you know, we have a good relationship. There's nothing wrong. China's a great place. Didn't Joe Biden tell us the same thing about China? They're not bad people. They're not bad. They really like America and Americans. Joe Biden said the same thing. Go figure.
Very strong. There's no doubt about it. And we just have a good relationship. I did actually see other people arrive here that not treated so well, but we were treated very well.
So that was meaningful for you?
Well, I mean, if I got out of...
You know what's bizarre? Like, you look at them dressed. And it's like, did they get dressed together, like in the locker? Like, did Trump demand that Hannity wear the same suit and tie as him? It's very weird.
A plane and nobody was there to greet me. I would say that wouldn't be so cool, because it's really respect for our country. Our country is respected. Look, we're the hottest country right now anywhere in the world.
Here we go. We're the hottest country anywhere in the world right now. Well, I guess you're not talking to your everyday average American citizen, Trump, that makes under, you know, $100,000 a year, because I'm sure they'd have a different opinion. We're the hottest. That's Trump's new word. We're the hottest country in the world. What are you, 12? Do you look at your poll numbers, Trump? The hottest country in the world? Well, your voting base doesn't think so.
He and I know each other well, I think beyond maybe that. But we certainly got a very nice greeting, and today was beautiful.
Mr. President, if there was any meeting that I think I would want to be a part of.
Sean Hannity is one of the main reasons why the country is where it is right now, where Israel is controlling both sides of the aisle, controlling President Trump, because of people like Hannity, who have looked in the camera at Fox News for 40 plus years and lied to the public every step of the way, because he's getting he paid big time money for it. Sean Hannity is not a good person at all. I love when Sean Hannity's like, I have integrity. I never lie. When he was sitting down with Dan Bongino, Hannity, your whole career is based off lies. Your entire career.
Part of, I would love to have been in that meeting. Rather than me start with a bunch of questions about this and that, and I do have specific questions, in your own words, how did this meeting go? Because I knew you were there a long time.
It was a long meeting. It started off interestingly because they're very organized people. And as you know, we have about 30 of the biggest business leaders in the world, biggest everything, you know, I mean, you name it, from chips to planes to everything. And they're all here. I didn't invite them. They all wanted to come. And they're all here.
Do you understand that we shouldn't be buying anything from China? Nothing. We should be manufacturing everything on American soil. We shouldn't be empowering China. China, our number one enemy, who's openly, you know, said that they want to overtake us as the world superpower. But America is completely dependent on our biggest enemy for everything that we need to survive in our country. Does that make sense to you? No, you know what that sounds like? That sounds like betrayal. That sounds like corruption at the highest level. That sounds like something that needs to change in 2028 when we tell China, get lost. We're making our own products here. We're going to build, we're going to be the manufacturing powerhouse of the world.
And I suggested that before we start the meeting, I'd like to introduce them to you. And they were surprised because it wasn't, you know, it wasn't scheduled. And they looked around, they said, well, and then, you know, we had everybody. I don't want to go into names because I'll leave some out. But there were a lot of guys.
Tim Cook, Elon,
a lot of people.
Musk.
Yeah,
you know,
we had everybody.
The head of NVIDIA was
Jensen.
here.
We had just everybody. And men and women, all great business, the best. And they said, okay.
Hey, he's such a great businessman. That's why we're getting crushed at the pump. Food prices through the roof, rent through the roof, everything that you can think of for American citizens is just, the prices are higher and higher and higher. And every campaign promise that Trump ran on, he's doing the total opposite. And it's the total opposite for the citizens that voted him into power. But, you know, he's the best and brightest businessman that ever lived. Except when it comes to saving you money. Then, you know what? Then he doesn't care. That's his exact words. He doesn't care. Not the single slightest bit.
And they each spoke a little bit and introduced themselves. And it's interesting because they do business in China. Most of them do business here, but probably like to do more. And I'd like to see them do more. That would be good for trade and trade balance. And they were fantastic. I'll tell you, they really had a good time. Once the Chinese leadership, because it was President Xi and many other leaders, once they got used to the fact that we're a little off schedule here and we're talking about a subject that wasn't even thought about, but they were outside. I said, I think we can get them in 5 minutes because they were literally, you know, a few minutes away from the room where we were in the Great Hall. We were in the Great Hall. And they came in and they did fantastically well. It was really good. I think it was, he actually said, oh, that was very good. That was a good idea. But it was very different from what the schedule had. And then we went on and we talked about a lot of different subjects, and I think it was all good.
Let me ask you this. You know, you always say that you have a very good relationship with President Xi, and you say the same thing about Vladimir Putin.
Yeah.
You're America first.
Yeah.
You seem to always understand. He's
Hannity, you're America first. Trump, yeah. Doesn't sound, you know what? Doesn't really give me a vote of confidence right there by your response. I mean, Trump, you know, that probably rattled him. He's not showing it because obviously he's not America first. And Hannity knows he's not America first. And Trump knows he's not America first. Just these two are just so, this is exactly why nobody watches Fox News anymore, Hannity. You can make your podcast room, you know, like Hannity tried to create this podcast. You go to Fox News, you open a door, there's his like podcast room in the back where he tries to make it look like you're in his barn or something. Nobody's buying it, Hannity. Everybody knows you're not America first, and neither is Trump.
going to be China first.
Yeah, totally.
And so...
He's China first. He wants to make good deals. But having a good relationship is a good thing, not a bad thing. I explain to people, you know, it's great when you have good relationships with very powerful countries, and powerful economically as well as we have the most.
The only reason why China is powerful is because America makes them powerful. Because we put ourselves dependent on them because we have corrupt politicians like Trump and the rest of them. And it all needs to come to an end. All of it needs to come to an end. All of it. We need to manufacture. There's 19,500 towns in the United States of America, and every single town should be responsible for manufacturing things. And if you're a kid that doesn't want to go to college and you don't want to go to trade school, then you know you can work down the street at the local whatever the town is building, a good paying job with benefits and a pension. You put your 30 years in, you retire, you have a life, you're able to survive. And if Trump really was America first, he'd be thinking how I'm thinking. But Trump is America last, and he's a con man, and he conned us all.
In my first term, the greatest military in the world. We have the greatest military in the world. We proved that with Venezuela. We proved it with Iran. Iran's wiped out militarily.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
It's just a question of time.
He keeps going with this lie that Iran is completely wiped out. Really? Then why are they calling the shots in the Strait of Hormuz, Trump? Iran's totally wiped out? You're still doing peace negotiations, so they're totally wiped out. If they're totally wiped out, wouldn't you be in total control? Wouldn't oil prices? We all know that even if the war ended tomorrow, gas prices are still going to be high for another year. They're not coming down to the year 2027. But hey, Trump will say, you know what? He doesn't care. He doesn't care you're suffering at the pump. Good old Don the Bomb here.
And, you know, we gave them a break by stopping a little while. We have a blockade. They have no boats are going in. No boats are even thinking about it. We talked about it today. It's very interesting. But they're impressed. We have a great military. We have the greatest military we've ever had, but we have the greatest military anywhere in the world. I built it in the first term. A little was given.
I hope everybody in the military gets out of the military till we have a president that puts America first. We bring you home, put you on our border. We raise your pay, give you a real raise. Not like what Trump did, giving you a whole $2,000. Don't spend that all in one place.
Away by Biden to Afghanistan. And as much as it was a lot, but it's a very little compared to what we have. We have a country that is respected. Our country 2 years ago, if Biden came here, I don't even think he would get a meeting with President Xi. I don't think they'd even meet with him.
I don't know if he'd be able to focus long enough in the meeting.
You know what? He wouldn't come here. But assuming he came, I don't know that he'd even have a meeting. It's amazing, actually. A lot of people.
Trump's got no energy left. He's got no pizzazz left. They vampired him. Now that they got him on a leash, now that they got him on a dog collar, he's literally, it's like being Superman with the kryptonite on your neck. You got no power. You got no pizzazz. You have no authority. He has nothing. He has nothing left. Zero. He's not Julius Caesar anymore. And he's like a neuter. He's a neutered pit bull. That's what he is. It's over. It was a con from the beginning. It's a con now.
I noticed even with the business leaders, they're the biggest businessmen in the world, and women, a couple of women, and most of them, almost all of them, but most of them never met President Xi. This was the first time they've met him. So they found it exciting. They all performed very well. They all spoke. And I said, it's a little different position for them because they're hot stuff back in our country, but here they are, they're standing in front of this, you know, massive country, the leadership. But they really performed well, I thought.
You have in the past described President Xi to me as very tough, all business.
Yeah.
You're not describing the type of business that he normally used to do. Do you think that your relationship has evolved to the point where, oh, he can go along with your spontaneity?
I think he's a warm person, actually, but he's all business. He's, you know, there's no games, there's no talking about how nice the weather is. Oh, let's look at the stars, let's look at the sun, you know. No, he's all...
Give me a break. Now they're patting him on the back for being a tough leader. You put that out there like that? You're not embarrassed to say that. You know, my response would be to that, he thinks he's tough. That's what he thinks. He thinks he's in control, but he's not. But then again, when you have somebody like Trump that's empowering them by letting them manufacture everything, that's why he knows he has the upper hand. Plus, you know, all the debt we're into them. We borrow money from China to give to Israel, and then we pay back the loan and the interest. You think China respects that? You think China respects you selling out your own people? You think they respect that? Nah, not at all.
He's all business, and that's, I like that. I mean, that's a good thing. No games. I say it about him, and I could say it about some, not as complimentary, frankly, for the most part. But I say about him that if you went to Hollywood and you looked for a leader of China to play a role in a movie,
central casting.
He's central casting. You couldn't find a guy like him. Even his physical features. You know, he's tall.
Give me a break. That little clown would tremble in my presence.
Very tall, and especially for this country, because they tend to be a little bit shorter. You look at the military. I mean, the military today.
Trump, you keep talking about this height thing, right? Like you keep talking about this, like this height makes you tough and like superior. Then why does Netanyahu control you? He's like 5 inches shorter than you, the little ghoul. Why does the ghoul control you, Trump, if you're like this superior being? I'm just curious. I mean, it's a legitimate question, right? You're just big tough guy, superiority complex, but meanwhile, somebody like Benjamin Netanyahu controls you and owns you. Israel can't do anything without the United States of America's backing. But somehow, some way, that little putz is telling you what to do.
It was incredible. That military marching was incredible. But no, if you went to Hollywood, you're not going to find a guy to play the role. He's good. And he's, I mean, I'll get criticized. They always criticize me when I say good things about certain leaders, and this one. But he's a leader for China. He's led.
Yeah, he's a leader for China, and you're a leader for Israel. And that's why he really doesn't respect you. And he never will. Deep down inside, he doesn't respect that. You could say whatever you want about China, how they're harsh, they're cruel to their citizens, whatever you want to call them. But at least he's for his country first. You, Marco Rubio, J.D. Ozempic, Ron DeSantis, Gavin Newsom, AOC, doesn't matter which side of the aisle it is. You are all for another country first. And you want leaders like Xi to respect you. Just a joke.
Almost 1.5 billion people for a long time. And he's respected. It's sort of interesting when the fake news said, he said, they'll say, President Trump said that President Xi was a brilliant leader. That's a terrible thing. What am I going to do? But it's, you saw the response. You saw and here's the thing. Those business people are here to make deals and to bring back jobs. They're bringing back massive numbers. China's going to invest hundreds of billions of dollars with those people that were in that room today.
Why are we letting China on our soil build jobs for our citizens? Does that make sense to you? Why are not American companies building companies here for our? Why are we letting another country bring their businesses here to create jobs for our citizens, making us more dependent on another country? God, I want to see him in prison.
That's why they came. That's why they came. It was really an honor. We had just about every major business leader in there.
Yeah, I mean.
You call this garbage America First, Hannity, you clown? You Fox News hack, you Israel First hack? You call that America First? Doesn't even push back at all. Do you think it's really wise to let China come to America, build their businesses, and we become more dependent?
Impressive.
And we become more dependent on a foreign nation? That's America First? Interesting.
So maybe to give people some insight into how you act in these situations. You're representing our country. You're the president of our country. And we get to watch you on a regular basis, something that the media did not get a lot of access to when Joe Biden was president. But we watch you.
He never did it.
Well,
and when he did do it, it was a disaster. Okay,
And guess what, Trump? Under Biden, gas prices were never as high as they are now. We weren't attacking 10, 12 different countries and trying to take over Cuba at the same time. What did we elect you to do, Trump? America first. No more wars, correct? Lowest gas prices ever. That was your words. And guess what? even sleepy Joe Biden didn't do all the damage that you're doing.
Almost 100% of the time. It was a disaster.
Pretty much.
It was a terrible thing for our country. You can't be represented like that. Our country.
Hannity, I really think it's time for you to retire, Hannity. You made a lot of money. You're really corrupt. You have no pushback because you have no hunger. You're not angry because you have no stock in the game, because Fox News has paid you hundreds of millions of dollars for the last 30 to 50 years to go along with the Israel first slop. So you got no skin in the game anymore, Hannity. You don't have no backbone anymore. You're soft and you're bought and paid for. You have no pushback on Trump.
Was laughed at. 2 years ago, our country was laughed at. We felt like a stupid country.
Look at Hannity. I love you, Trump.
We were mocked.
Kiss me, Trump.
We were taken advantage of.
I love you, Trump.
In every other way.
He's like a little fish. Hannity looks like a goldfish. Kiss me, Trump.
We left all that, billions of
dollars. There's a little pouty face
of equipment behind. Could have taken it. It was just unbelievable. There's no reason to do that. It's just all of a sudden and leave it.
Descubre una oportunidad de inversión única en el corazón del Caribe. Larimar City and Resort.
No, we were a country with the highest inflation in history. When they talk about high prices, I inherited the high prices. I'm getting them down. I've got them down incredibly. In fact, if I didn't make the little excursion to the country of Iran, I had to do it. We just hit the highest stock market ever, which, by the way, now with
this idiot keeps talking about the stock market. The stock market has no effect on everyday normal citizens' life. We care about the gas. We care about the food prices. We care about the energy prices. We care about rent. We care about insurance. He's still talking about the stock market and the Dow Jones. It's just like, he'll just pat himself on I can't wait till he loses the midterms. I can't wait till his presidency's over. His ego is out of control. He's all about, his legacy. Your legacy is you took a dump in your MAGA's face and your voting base's face. That's your legacy, Trump.
Highest. We're now higher than we were before the war started. And oil went up very little compared to what most people, even including me, I thought it would go up more. But that was okay for a short period of time, because we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. They're crazy.
I'm going to get to that.
You can't let them have a nuclear weapon. They would use it. There'd be no Israel. There'd be no Middle East. There'd be no Europe. And they come at us too, because
they can't reach America, number one. And if Hannity had any balls, which he doesn't, he'd be like, well, Tulsi Gabbard, her report said that they had no intentions of bombing us. Not to mention, you said you blew these facilities under, you blew them to pieces and smithereens 6 months ago, Trump. But hey, which one is it?
Because you know why? They're crazy.
I'm going to get back to Iran. Let me go to the media and Donald Trump and then the person, and give people insight into the guy that sits in the room across from the leader of China, 1.5 billion people. We watch you almost daily with the media, and I think you enjoy it. You bring them in, they have gaggles, you keep them there for a long period of time. Probably.
It's not that I enjoy it.
You don't enjoy it?
No.
You seem like you do.
Well,
this glaze fest with Trump. Hannity, all the problems that our country has right now, this is what happens when you're a paid shill for Fox News and you just look into the camera and lie for 40 years. This is what happens when you're an Israel firster. He has no tough question. You know why? Because he doesn't have to worry about paying his rent. He doesn't have to worry about putting gas in his car. He doesn't have to worry about food prices. He can take helicopters from, to go to the PBD show, personal helicopters, because Fox News will fly him there. It's time to retire, Hannity. Time to retire. The fat cat needs to retire. He's not hungry anymore. No pushback. You know why? Because he's not struggling. This idiot has, he pretends like he's Mr. America and he can relate to American citizens, Hannity. Hannity's an elitist too. Hannity's in the Epstein class too. He might not be on Epstein Island, but he's in the Epstein class.
Well, every question's a kill. They're always going for the kill. Every question, you see these people with a hatred. I said, you have such hatred when you ask the question. Why? Because I have a strong border? Because I have a good military? Why do you have such hatred? The whole thing is crazy. It's not that I enjoy it. It's that I can get the word out, because I don't get the word out. I mean, look, Fox is great, and, we have some that are good. But overall, if you read the New York Times, you actually think we're losing or not doing well in Iran. They have no Navy. They have no Air Force. It's gone. It's just a question of time. If we want, we stopped. Could have gone for another few weeks. It would have been over. I did that at the request of a lot of leaders that are friendly with them. It's not going to matter for them. They're finished. Now they can make a deal or they get annihilated. I don't want to do that. Yeah. But we have the greatest military. And, you know, when you do news conferences, you're getting the word out that you're not going to read in the New York Times. I mean, I read these things. I see some of your other networks, the way they cover, they will take a massive military victory and make it like we should have done it faster. The one thing they couldn't complain about was Venezuela because it was over in one day. So we're comparing it to.
Hannity, are you going to ask Trump that's not what you ran on? You didn't run on more. You ran on no more war in America first. But Hannity can't ask the question. He can't ask that.
So here's my question.
You know, as an example, Vietnam lasted for 19 years. Right?
Here we go.
I think Iraq was 10 years. Thousands and thousands of people killed there. Many, many thousands in Vietnam. And we have, sadly, we've lost, in 2 wars, we've lost 13 people. 13. That's 13 people too many.
Trying to minimize the deaths of American soldiers. Well, guess what, Trump? We shouldn't have lost any soldiers. You know why? We shouldn't be bombing any countries for Israel or China or any other country. So, but hey, look, it's only 13 people. No big deal. No big deal.
But we've lost 13 as opposed to 75,000, as opposed to 50,000, as opposed to numbers that are staggering. Think of it. We're 19 years in Vietnam. Every war, we're 4 years, 8 years, 9 years. Iraq was 10 years.
Trump is trying to condition the audience that this war will be another endless war in Iran. And he's going to send boots on the ground. There won't be one IDF soldier on the ground because, you know, Israeli soldiers' lives are too precious and none of them should lose their lives. But some kid from Kentucky or Queens, New York or Florida, you should lose yours. And you should be honored that you got to die for Israel. Be a good little goyim.
Websites your competitors don't want you to know, part 2. All you do is go to this website, and it lets you find out exactly.
I've been there for like a couple of months, and the Navy's gone. They have 159 ships. Every single one of them is now happily floating or not floating at the bottom of the sea. No, every one. They have no Air Force. They had a nice Air Force. They don't anymore. They have no Air Force. They have no anti-aircraft. Now, they probably have. I mean, we know everything they've done. They built it up a little bit. We'll take it out in one day. It'll all be gone. I hope they're watching because all of their anti-stuff, anything they put up, we know exactly what they put up. You know, they had a little respite. And so they're trying to get a few things together. They have taken some missiles from underground. We know exactly what they're doing. It'll all be gone in one day. Everything they've done for the last 4 weeks will be gone in one day. But when you read some of these horrible papers, if you watch CNN as an example, or that other one, they used to go to MSDNC, now it's MS Now. And they got rid of it because it was such an embarrassment. It gets no ratings. CNN has just been destroyed.
You were pretty funny the other day. You were in the Oval Office and you go, you know, I think whatever I want to do, I'm going to say the opposite. Then I'll get what I want.
It took me a while.
Yeah, he's just hysterical, Hannity. He's just such a funny guy.
But by the way, there's probably some.
No, I'm going to announce what I don't want. I'll be able to get it. They'll immediately, like, I'll say, we will not build a wall. We will not because I built over 1,000 miles of wall. People don't even talk about it. We have the safest southern border in the history of our country. We have the safest border in the world other than North Korea. I tell you, North Korea has a pretty safe border, too. They've got 5 fences that are fully electrocuted.
You were at that border.
I saw it. There's never been anyone. There was one person that got through, but he ended up dying about 10 feet as he got through.
All right, thanks for watching. Check out my new podcast, Hanging Out.
Just a total waste. Just a total disgrace. It was a horrible 14 minutes. And, you know, I guess the point that I'm trying to see is like Trump, again, he keeps patting himself on the back. He's talking about the stock market, the Dow Jones. He can't figure out why he's getting negative press. He can't figure it out, huh? Not one tough question from Hannity. Not one. Zero. I wouldn't expect anything. It's time to retire, Hannity, for real. Hannity can't even tell him, well, you did run on no more wars. You did say gas prices will be the cheapest that they've ever been. But no. Not Trump, right? Not Hannity. He can't ask him that. Let's see Trump with BAIER, with BRET BAIER. Let me pull up the video. Give me a second. I'm having some problems. Where is it? Oh, here we go.
Hell are you? With Base 44, a simple sentence becomes your website.
Talking about, so you're saying that you
asked on the
Riccardi Brothers.
Come on.
Save 20% off select Benjamin Moore premium exterior paints and stains. Shop online or visit your nearest Riccardi Brothers location today.
And then second with less MAGA Fox host Bret Baier. And this was even more disastrous than the Hannity interview because Baier was willing to press Trump in ways that Hannity never would, including about Trump's recent viral gaffe, where he openly admitted that he doesn't consider and doesn't care about the American people's financial hardships. Baier confronted Trump about this, as well as increasing evidence that Trump's economy is atrocious, only for Trump to double down on all of it. And we have to talk about this. But before we do, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, folks, this media...
Hello, I hope you are having a fantastic day. You are speaking to me, Elon. Hope you aren't speaking to anyone pretending to be me out there.
Reports about Trump's Fox interview with Bret Baier. Trump responds to uproar over offhand remark. Quote, "That's a perfect statement. I'd make it again." So you're already seeing, again, the snapshots and psychology of who Trump is. Even now, in the face of overwhelming political disaster, he refuses to apologize or try to amend his statement or even to clarify. Instead, he doubles down. So let's play some of these clips, starting with this.
prices in America are still high, painfully high.
They're going to drop like a rock as soon
Once
as
it's
this
over.
Yeah. They'll
Painfully
drop like
high, though, now.
And that's a lie. Prices are not going to drop like a rock as soon as it's over. And Trump already knows that's not going to happen. So,
and could be creeping higher
lower than
before it's
Biden.
done.
Excuse me, lower than Biden, and much.
That's another lie. These prices are not lower than Joe Biden. You think Joe Biden was over $4.53 or $5 a gallon of gas? And I couldn't stand Biden. It just, he starts off the interview just lying.
Lower than people thought they'd be.
This inflation number is going up. You're right. It's much lower than President Biden's was, but it's going up under you.
So I want to stop right there. This is where, again, Baier is nowhere near as MAGA as Hannity is, but he's still right-winger. He's still treating Trump, relatively speaking, with kid gloves. Again, he's pressing Trump on this, credit where it's due. But the fact of the matter is that President Biden left office with inflation lower than it is now. So it's not accurate to say that, yes, inflation is, your inflation is lower than Biden's was. It would be accurate to say that inflation at its peak in 2022 under President Biden was much higher than it is now. But Biden left office with inflation much lower than it is right now under Trump. And so, again, Brett, got to correct your math on this one. But again, kudos to him for saying, okay, you can deflect all you want to Biden, but this is happening on your watch. This is your inflation. Let's continue.
Democrats and political pundits jumped all over this statement that you made the other day. You were asked when you were leaving.
What extent are American financial situations motivating you to make a deal?
Not even a little bit. The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about American financial situation. I don't think about anybody. I think about one thing. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That's all.
So that's an atrocious statement. That's a tone-deaf statement. It's basically going to insert itself into every Democratic ad between now.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Give Democrats more ammunition than they already have. Genius, Trump. Genius.
Now in the November midterms, Trump just gave the Democratic Party massive PR, an opposition ammunition here to use against him in terms of campaigns. And I want to note that if Joe Biden had said something like this, something this tone deaf and this, out of touch, during, high inflation on his watch, Fox would also be pouncing all over this. But let's see how BAIER sets this up and how Trump responds.
That's a perfect statement. I'd make it again.
You can imagine how many people stopped the soundbite I don't think about America's financial situation.
He's doing a much better job than Hannity. I mean, Hannity was glazing Trump the entire time. No pushback at all. I mean, I'm not a fan of BAIER either. What's BRET BAIER? I'm not, we all know who signs his check, so.
So what's your response to that framework?
It's very simple. When people hear me say it, everybody agrees. Short-term pain, it's going to be short-term pain. But the pain is much less than people thought. Because people thought that the oil would go up to $250. It was $99 yesterday.
So Trump is saying people thought it would go up to $250 for a barrel of gas. And that would pretty much push gas prices up to like $15 a gallon. I mean, $10 to $15 a gallon. And he still did it anyway. So you really think this is America I thought it would be worse. I mean, you're only paying $5 for a gallon. No big deal. Yeah, it's no big deal when you're a millionaire, Trump. Clown. Just a clown.
Today,
and you know what? Brett is trying to let Trump like redo his statement. Like, I kind of didn't mean it like that. Not Trump. Never. Because he's showing you exactly who he is. He doesn't give a single shit about the working man. Not one.
$99 a barrel. I thought it might go up to $200. I was okay with that. Not that I wanted it.
Again, what a colossally stupid statement. Now, BAIER confronts him on this, but is also trying to help him guide out of it, the way he never would, by the way, with Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. Bret BAIER would never do this for them. Again, he's a conservative, and he grades Trump on a curve. But Trump is so stupid and so out of touch and so arrogant that he steps on the rake yet again, even as BAIER tries to navigate him out of it. Okay, don't step here, and Trump just petulantly chooses to step on it again and again. It's a perfect statement, wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah.
Why? Is incredibly tone deaf. Pissed a lot of people off. And then for him to say short-term pain. Well, you said you would cut costs on day one, not increase costs. Inflation is increasing on your...
That's exactly what it said. Day one, you will see the cheapest gas prices that you've ever seen in the history of the country. It'll be under $2 a gallon. That's exactly what Trump promised.
Watch, as BAIER points out. Furthermore, for you to say it's not as bad as you thought it would be, what the hell are you talking about? So you're saying that you were prepared to do this and you were fine doing this, expecting that the pain would be even more considerable than what it is? Right? People aren't going to be happy. Wait a minute. Listen, I'm breaking their wrist, but I thought I was going to break their arm. What are you doing? That's not the answer you're supposed to give. Well, let's hear another clip.
Trump voters. Alex says, I voted for you 3 times. He can't handle the costs. And he's not for this foreign conflict.
I hate it, bro.
He's not for the foreign conflict, but it costs.
Let's actually read the statement. I am a Republican and I voted for Trump 3 times. I voted for peace, not new wars. I supported him because he promised to put America first, rebuild this country, lower costs, and keep us out of foreign conflicts. In my view, he broke those promises.
And he's not for this foreign conflict.
I hate it, bro.
He's not for the foreign conflict, but Roy in Pennsylvania, he's a retired farmer. He can't handle the fuel going up, and he says he's
going to come down very fast.
Roy Stroker, 66, says he voted for Trump and backs the war. He's not happy about the cost of fuel going up, and he said he's been disappointed that inflation has continued in the year and a half since he voted for Trump.
Yes. And look, disappointed.
I'm just telling you what they say.
When you say to him, Roy, Alex, we got a problem. We just hit the highest stock market price ever. By the way,
I overthink during sex and can't stay hard. Honestly, this is why I recommend Blue True Gold. Most ED...
Again, he is like a homing missile for the dumbest, most irresponsible, most politically reckless answers to sensitive questions he could possibly video. More revelations on that, but what a stupid response.
Then, when I went in. Now, again,
it's higher.
With the war, it's higher than it was when I went in. Think of that.
I agree.
The 401ks that they're all...
I mean, look at BAIER's face here. BAIER's like,
time high. There are more people working right now in the United States of America than at any point ever in the history of our country.
That's not true. That's just not true. Labor force participation rate is not the highest it's ever been in this country. Unemployment, by the way, was lower under President Biden. Job creation and the job and labor market were better under President Biden. This is, again, an incredibly irresponsible and stupid answer from Trump, and BAIER's trying to navigate him out of it. but Trump is doubling down.
Really big wins in courts, including the Supreme Court. Contested districts are now tilting to Republicans. It looks like they've picked up a number of seats, at least on paper. Do you think that that makes the difference in holding the House?
Well, it helps. I mean, I don't know the difference. I think I think a bigger difference would be if I win quickly as opposed to after. But again, I'm not going to let the election determine what's going to happen with respect to Iran, because they cannot have a nuclear weapon. Okay. But a bigger difference would be if that price went down. Look, prices are down, but the energy caused it to go up. And I said to my people, I hate to do this.
Prices are down, but they're up. If the prices weren't up, they'd be down. They're down except for the parts that are up, which is the all of it part. Again, totally incoherent. Trump actively created the circumstances and actively made the decisions which directly caused inflation to spike. It's all his fault. And the polls show the American people blame him and his party for it, a supermajority in this deeply polarized nation, including the difference with respect to the midterm elections.
To you, but I'm going to screw up your numbers for a little while because we have to stop the nuclear weapon stuff with Iran because they're nuts. They're sick people.
I mean, Brett, are you going to ask them about Tulsi Gabbard's report? Of course you won't.
Even if they weren't sick, you wouldn't want it to happen, but they're crazy. We're going to take a little curve. We're going to diverge down the pike, and we're going to hit them, and we're going to stop them. And essentially, we have really put them on hold. We'll do it as quickly as we can.
Trump said that he got rid of their nuclear potential last year, 10 months ago during Operation Midnight Hammer.
That's exactly what Trump said. He's just lying through his teeth, just like everything else.
He lied. He lied to the American people. The very same rationale he did what he did 10 months ago is the basis for this war here. So he was lying then or he's lying now or both. But again, this is another reason why there's no support for the war. And the war is the primary cause. Trump's war is the primary cause of inflation going up.
Take a little curve. We're going to diverge down the pike, and we're going to hit them, and we're going to stop them. And essentially, we have really put them on hold. We'll do it as quickly as we can. I call it a little pain. Look, I agree. The oil goes up, but it's going to come down lower than it was. It'll be down lower than it was. Now,
he has no basis to make that claim, none whatsoever.
Exactly.
And experts say that it could be that we couldn't see pre-war gas prices for another year. That's how very possible, even if Trump were to end the war today, that's how likely it is that, we'll see pre-war gas prices. It could be 6 months. It could be a year. That's how long it will take.
And
all good people.
November is coming. The approval's upside down.
I think
you're not on the ballot, but do you think that this war and this moment is going to affect your ability to hold the House and Senate?
So yesterday they had 18 elections. I won all 18. Everybody I endorsed won. 2 weeks ago in a very big event, Indiana had like 8 people that had never lost an election. Some were in for 25 years. They had a 40-point lead, but they didn't want to give some additional people in Congress. Very simple.
Redistricting.
And I said, you know what? If they don't want to redistrict, they're not for us. And I ran candidates that nobody ever heard of, but good people. And everyone won, other than one because 2 or 3 people ran. Actually, it was very smart. But I won every one of them. CNN did a poll recently that said I'm 100% approval in the Republican
I thought you said CNN is fake news, Trump. I thought CNN is fake news.
Party with MAGA, which is most of the Republican Party. So I think it's almost all of it now, actually. I'm at 100%. And Harry, whatever his name is,
Enden.
Nice guy, Harry Enden, was jumping up and down.
But you think you're going to win the midterms?
I don't know. I can't tell you because a couple of factors. They got to pass the Save America Act. I really believe that's important because the Democrats cheat. This will keep them from cheating. It'll make it much harder.
Oh, yeah. Now, if Democrats win, it's because they're cheating. No, I mean, you just won your election in a major landslide, popular vote, everything you could think of. You got the House, you got the Senate, you have more laws in place, you have the gerrymandering. But now if Democrats win, it's not because of your policies. It's not because you put Israel first. It's because Democrats cheated. Interesting.
For them to cheat. Without cheating, they can't win.
They say
because they have
votes.
things like open borders where criminals can pour into your country, men playing in women's sports so ridiculous. These are 98% issues. You know, the
So he's not particularly confident about the midterms, nor should he be, because, again, all the gerrymandering in the world has certainly entrenched the Republicans' institutional.
All right, let me end it with that. I'm just showing you how delusional Trump is, you know, and nothing's going to change. Trust me. His presidency's over. He knows it's over. His energy says it's over, and he sold us all out. So we all know what it is. You know, at least Brett BAIER was a little more, you can call it confrontational than Sean Hannity, but I'm sure Trump did not like that interview at all. Let's watch Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan gets absolutely destroyed. Hold on. I think I'm using the same guy's clip. Pandering politics. This was great. This was a great clip. You know, Jim Jordan also, he takes a lot of money from AIPAC. He can't be trusted. He's corrupt as they come also.
Here's what comes off a bowl of strawberries when you drop this device in the water. These berries are fresh from the store and already rinsed under the tap, but within 10 minutes, the water changes color. What floats to the surface will change how you feed your family. My friend works in food safety testing. Last month,
the world we live in,
it's been
gas prices were coming down until we had to deal with this situation. But, you know, that's life. That's dealing with world and
We didn't elect Trump to deal with the world. We elected Trump to take care of America and American citizens, Jim. I mean, how much money did you take from AIPAC again, Jim? Let me know.
The world we live in.
It's been a minute since we've talked about or done a video about MAGA Republican Congressman Jim Jordan. This is a man who at one point wasn't that far away from becoming the Republican Speaker of the House after Kevin McCarthy was ousted. He is one of the biggest MAGA stalwarts in the House of Representatives, and he went viral the other day for this CNN interview with Caitlin Collins because he really put his foot in his mouth in the worst possible way, just like his cult leader, Donald Trump. And this is the problem that MAGA Republicans face. When you're part of a cult and your cult leader is incredibly stupid and incredibly unpopular, and the American people are increasingly fed up with him, it puts you into an untenable position. So as you're going to see here, Jim Jordan really screws up, just like Trump. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, folks, let's dive on in. We've got several clips to get through.
The questions that your colleagues have been facing on this, I'm sure you faced some of them from the Capitol Hill press corps. You were critical when gas was $3.07 when President Biden was in office. If you thought that was bad, what is $4.53?
Well, we all want gas prices to go down, Caitlin, but we also are concerned about Iran and this regime that's done so much.
Yeah, you know, the typical Israel first talking points. You know, we all want gas prices to go down, you know, Caitlin, but we had to take care of, you know, we wanted to do what Benjamin Netanyahu wanted us to do because he has President Trump on a dog leash. And by the way, Caitlin, you know, I pretend like I'm a good guy, but I actually take millions of dollars from AIPAC. But hey, you know, Jim Jordan's a good guy.
So much evil and harm around the world to Americans, to Israelis, to other people, to their own people, for goodness sakes, for 47 years.
Caitlin right now, she's got a full house and she's just like, oh, I can't wait to just push all my chips to the middle. Because she already knows that she's got them.
You can't have that regime getting a nuclear weapon. The president's been clear about that. Secretary of State Rubio's been clear about that. So the president is concerned about the long-term safety of this great country and the citizens who live here. That's
So the fact of the matter is, Jim Jordan, as we both know, would never accept an excuse like this for this. And so he tries to double down, but it doesn't quite land.
This is what you said in 2022 when gas prices in your home state of Ohio were actually a little bit lower than they are today.
Look at her face.
These elites who live here.
I just want to say real quick, did you see him tense up? One more time. Look at that. Look very closely.
This is what you said in 2022 when gas prices in your home state of Ohio were actually a little bit lower than they are today.
Look at her face.
He's like, oh, shit, this doesn't...
She's trying to hide the smirk on her face. Like, she's like, her lip is like cocked this way.
Look good. No, it's not. It's not.
These elites who live here in Washington don't seem to get the fact that folks in like West Central Ohio, North Central Ohio that I get to represent, where you make things, grow things, move things, $5 gas kills the economy.
I mean, what happens to the economy if we hit $5 a gallon now?
Well, it's not good. We'd like it to come down. But, you know, we're also seeing some good signs in the month of April.
Really, Jim? What good signs are those, Jim? What good signs? Let me know what good signs those are, Jim. Come on, let me know. How much money did you take from AIPAC again, Jim? Let me know how much money you take from them.
We have 115,000 job growth in the economy. There's
Job growth, average monthly job growth under Donald Trump is atrocious compared to President Biden. I don't think you want to go on the job growth comparison because it's atrocious there. And Biden had infinitely greater job performance numbers. Were you giving him credit for that? No. I mean, you can hear him in real time. He's panicking, he's stuttering, he's stammering.
In the month of April, we have 115,000 job growth in the economy.
Did he just make those numbers up off the top? We had 115,000 job growth. Yeah, sure we did. Does McDonald's and gas stations count as good, decent paying jobs, Jim? Can you get a pension out of those jobs? Can you really pay your bills with the type of jobs that you're referring to, Jim? Probably not. I mean, maybe you can donate some of your AIPAC money back to your constituents in Ohio, Jim. Why don't we start there?
There's some good signs out there. We all want prices to come down. We all want things to be more affordable, particularly for young couples who are buying that first home, got a young family. We all want that to happen. But we don't.
These people are just scum of the planet. Do you really think Jim Jordan gives one single shit about a young couple starting a family or buying a home? Do you think Trump cares? Do you think any of them care about you? Aren't you tired of this? Do you think that any of these people despise you? And you could see that in every decision that if you ever wanted to question if they really like you, look at every decision that they make, both sides of the aisle. Not one decision that they make is good for Americans or America. They hate you.
We don't want this country and what they've done over 47 years, the people they've killed, the evil they've been a part of. We don't want them getting a nuclear
Here
weapon.
we go.
So
back to the talking points.
Discover a unique investment opportunity in the heart of the Caribbean. Larimar City and Resort is.
This is what you said.
Again, you all said that you totally obliterated their nuclear potential last year. So the idea that Iran was in serious jeopardy of, actually getting a nuclear weapon, that means your cult leader either failed or lied his ass off last year, right? So again, you see how he's checkmated no matter what dialogue option he selects. He's like an NPC in a video game who's fucked no matter what dialogue option you present.
What about his promise in 2024 that if he was reelected, gas would be under $2 a gallon because of his policies?
Well, gas prices were coming down until we had to deal with this situation. But,
this guy's so full of shit. He's just so full of it. That's what Trump ran on. The first day that I'm in office, the first day I get elected, gas will be under $2 a gallon. Soon as I get in there. Total opposite. It's the highest gas prices ever. But hey, Jim Jordan, he'll sit there and he'll just lie, try to pretend like he's a decent, good person. He's not a good person at all. Hey, Jim, again, how much money do you take from AIPAC? Why are you pushing these narratives and Israel first talking points? Why are you pushing the false narrative that Iran wants a nuclear weapon to, blow up America? Oh, that's right. AIPAC tells you what you have to say because you're bought and paid for too.
That's life. That's dealing with world and the world we live in. I think the country gets the fundamental fact, and I know I understand this. President Trump makes decisions that are in the best interest of our nation. 250 years, greatest country in history. He makes decisions that are going to help our country and the long-term security and safety of the people he has and I think you want a commander-in-chief like that.
So now, see, when it's a Democrat.
No, Jim, we want a commander-in-chief that actually puts America first. It's not bought and paid for by Israel like Trump and you and the rest of them. Just a total piece of garbage.
You got to be laser focused on affordability. It doesn't matter what, national security consider. American people are getting more and more pissed at Trump and Jim Jordan. They're like, no, you had a zero tolerance policy under Biden. Fair enough, because we were the ones paying for it. Well, that zero tolerance policy also extends under Trump, and you will get affordability down, or we're going to give power to the Democrats. Get it done now, bitch. That's what they want Jim Jordan to do, but he's not. All he's doing instead is making excuses for Trump. So Caitlin Collins, again, reminds him of his own words.
You're saying gas prices went up under Biden, and I criticized it then because I didn't like why they were going up. I mean, they're going up a lot under this president. that you supported, but you're just saying it's for the right reason in your view.
Yeah, and it's for a reason that he told the American people he was going to.
No, it's for the reason of we're putting Israel before America, and no American voted for that. No American voted to put Israel before America, Jim. So this whole charade that you're not a good person, Jim. So you know what? Just whatever. Just another piece of garbage. They're just the worst human, the scum of the scum of the planet.
No, he did not say he was going to increase gas prices, number one. Number two, the reason he said he was going to do, that's why he did Operation Midnight Hammer last year. He said,
like so many other.
Jim, you're screwed here. There's no plausible explanation where you win the debate. You will always lose, and Democrats will always win the debate.
One thing I know about this president, unlike so many other people in elective office, when this president says something, he does what he said. He said he.
When President Trump says something, he's going to do what he says. Really? What were Trump's campaign promises? America first, lowest gas prices ever, no more wars, going after the deep state, prosecuting, the criminals that went out. Trump's done nothing. A border wall still not built yet. Totally abandoned mass deportations, Trump. Tampon Timmy Walsh and Jacob Fry told Trump, get effing lost, and he put his tail between his legs and he ran. Trump didn't. This is one thing about President Trump. Whatever he says, he does. He hasn't done anything that he's promised.
He's the biggest pathological liar in the history
There you go.
of American politics. So that's just manifestly untrue.
He would cut taxes, he did. He said he would secure the border, he did. He said he would make sure Iran didn't get a nuclear weapon, and he's going.
He said that he did that last year. So again, the predicate for this war doesn't make any sense. If he does what he says and he tells the truth, then there's no nuclear weapon and there's no risk of a nuclear weapon because he took care of it last year. Again, Jim, you will always lose the debate. That's why you're so visibly nervous here. He also said he would cut costs on day one, and he didn't do that. So, no, sorry.
About doing that. And thank goodness he's got the courage and the toughness and the willingness to do what he said when most of the other all the other presidents for 47 years wouldn't do it, but this guy will.
What about his promise in 2024 that if he was reelected, gas?
You know what kind of psychopath that you have to be to act like Jim Jordan right now? He's been destroyed in multiple segments of this interview, and he still just won't either shut up, keep his mouth shut, or be like, you know what, the president needs to do a better job. He's not really doing what he's campaigned, what he campaigned on. Just he's a psychopath.
Gas would be under $2 a gallon because of his policies.
Well, gas prices were coming down until we had to deal with this situation. But, that's life. That's dealing with world and the world we live in. I think the country gets the fundamental fact, and I know I understand this, President Trump makes decisions that are in the best interest of our nation. 250 years, greatest country in history.
Again,
grandstanding, Trump's decision to go into Iran has been a total disaster in every possible way, and that's why he's going to lose the midterms, and that's why his legacy is completely over, and that's why nobody wants to hear him talk anymore, and he's polling at 20%. It's just like, right. Okay, Jim.
Nobody buys that, Jim. Nobody buys it. You can see in real time where he's like, oh my God, I screwed up spectacularly by saying it the way I just said it. That's just life. Basically, in other words, if you're an American and you're suffering under this economy, deal with it. Deal with it because...
Yeah, you should be happy that you're suffering for Israel first policies. You should be happy that you're paying for everybody in... The American taxpayer pays for everybody in Israel to have free health care. We pay for their border wall. We pay for their Iron Dome. We pay for their military. We let them use our military also. You should be happy that we're all struggling and going into massive debt, and our lives are super complicated and hard at this point. You should be happy because as long as Israel comes before America, it's all worth it. According to Jim Jordan and Trump and Rubio and J.D. Ozempic.
That's your job. Donald Trump gets to do whatever he wants, and you have to deal with the consequences. Get over yourselves, American people. That's what Jim Jordan is saying.
Yep.
The president was asked about this as he was departing the White House for China, and this is what he told reporters about that.
It's a family crisis that's unfolding in real time. A mother is patting her 10-month-old baby boy.
Mr. President, to what extent are Americans' financial situations motivating you to make a deal?
Not even a little bit. The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about Americans' financial situation.
He doesn't think about Americans' financial situations because him and his billionaire friends are counting all the money. They don't have time to think about you. They're counting all the billions of dollars they're making off gasoline and all the other corrupt things that they're doing.
I don't think about anybody. I think about one thing. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That's all.
Even if you agree with the war, and you clearly do, is he not minimizing what Americans are feeling because of the war?
No, come on, Caitlin. This is a president who did the largest tax cut in American history, letting American families keep more of their money. Of course he cares about them having the revenue and the source.
No, the disproportionate benefits of that tax increase went to those who needed it the least. So, no, he's giving the American people table scraps while giving the fat hounds under the table everything they want. He's, again, giving the lion's share to those who need it the least and stinging out on the people who need it the most. And the American people are getting fed up. And Caitlin Collins points out that the American people are not on Jim Jordan's side or Trump's side.
Is, in your view, is the cost of a gallon of gas reflective on the president's job performance?
No, the president is, I think he's done a great job. He's done what he said. As I said before, he's cut taxes, secured the board, did it in record.
Trump did what he said he was going to do. I guess you missed the part about no more new wars, Jim. Guess you missed the part about as soon as I get elected, you'll see the lowest gas prices you've ever seen. Prosecuting the deep state, mass deportations, building a border wall, drill baby drill, infrastructure builds, let's build. Trump hasn't done any of it, and he won't. He's not going to do anything.
Time on securing the border, things that we all ran on that the American people elected us to do. We've been able to do that. And like I've said now, we want gas prices to come down, certainly, but we also have to deal with this threat that is very real, that is as real as it gets. These people are as dangerous as it gets. 47 years, they've killed Americans, they've killed Israelis, they've killed others, they've killed thousands of their own people, including their star athletes. So that's the situation we're in. President Trump understands we have to address that.
But do you think Americans feel that way? I mean,
he's so damn nervous. He really is. You can see it in real time, just stammering and stumbling over his words. I mean, it's really, really bad, right? Jim Jordan's never been the smoothest operator, but again, not a dumb guy, a smart guy, and he's willing to have conversations. And yes, he's a MAGA cultist, but he's not, absolutely mad. He's not crazy the way like Lauren Boebert is, for example, or somebody like that. There's a guy who's, used to having CNN conversations, like he goes on CNN all the time, but he's in an impossible situation here. Of course, the price of gas is reflective of Trump's approval rating, which is why his approval rating's in the toilet.
You look at CNN polling, 70% of Americans say that he's doing a bad job on the economy. That is rare for President Trump. I don't even think
70% of Americans disapprove of Trump's handling of the economy. And Jim Jordan and Trump look into the camera and telling you what a good job that they're doing. You know what it is? Trump knows it's over. Trump is doing exactly what he was paid to do. And that's to put Israel first at any cost. He doesn't care about his legacy. He doesn't care about his poll numbers. He doesn't care if he burns the Republican Party down, as he's leaving. Because Trump is the type of person that'll be like, you see, the Republican Party can't do nothing without me. After I left, they can't win. That's what he wants.
he got below 50% even during COVID in his first term. I mean, when was the last time 70% of Americans agreed on anything?
Well, I think most Republicans think President Trump's doing a good job. I've seen polling. I don't trust all the polling you see.
Now he's lying and he says he thinks Republicans think Trump's doing a good job. I voted for Trump 3 times. And guess what? I'll never vote for another Republican as he retired me officially. Done. And I've never voted for a Democrat ever, but in the midterms, the way Trump told me to go F myself, the way I'm going to tell him to go F himself is to vote for Democrats. And I don't care.
All I know is I think Americans appreciate leaders who actually do what they said they were going to do. And
Well, if Trump did what he said he was going to do, he'd be winning the midterms in a landslide, Jim. The reason why he's going to get destroyed in the midterms, Jim, is because he's doing the exact opposite of what he campaigned on.
Trump does that.
But he
better
said
than
he
any
was going to
elected
bring
official I've
prices
ever seen
down
in
for
my lifetime.
Americans, and inflation is up, and gas
And
is up.
and he's working on that, Caitlin.
And even no, it's going in the wrong direction, man. You're fucked. You're so fucked. Trump is fucked. You're fucked.
All right, you get the point. I mean, I've seen enough, and you know, they'll just, these people are complete psychopaths. They'll look you in the face and they'll all act like, you know, say that Trump's doing a great job, and they're, you know, he's doing it to save us. He's not doing it to save us. He's not doing it. He's not in Iran to save the Iranians. You think really Trump really cares about the Iranian people? Trump is bombing Iran to expand Israel's borders in Iran, in South Lebanon. It's all about the greater Israel and expanding Israel's borders. And Trump doesn't care about his legacy. He doesn't care about the midterms. He doesn't care about his poll numbers. He doesn't care about anybody but himself. And with that being said, thanks for tuning in to Unbreakable with Chris Chamasiros.